tonight, going live as well on Twitter.
You're not messing about.
No, not messing about.
Well, that's why I'm giving you the platform, brother, and that's why I want you to just like chop it up like how we always do, John. You know?
Yeah. Right. Good evening, everyone. I'm just gonna check to see if I am on Twitter. Did my pings come up then, Arlene? Yeah. Let me just say, please let me be doing it. Oh, it's working. It's working on Twitter. Big John's live on Twitter. This is the first one for me, ladies and gentlemen. Obviously, if you'd been watching the Greater Manchester Mayor question time, you would have seen me question the Greater Manchester Mayor, call out the Oldham Chief of Police, Manchester to Chief of Police for crap policing. And I said to them that all police are sex offenders. And I meant it. I didn't mean a third of them. I didn't mean 2 or 3 of them. I meant all of them, because it's a national disgrace that our police at the moment on sex offences.
You know, I saw you when you said that, and I said, you know what, you can't disagree. You know, you can't. I see where you're coming from. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's a broad spectrum. So tonight I'm with Truth and Rights TV. It's somebody who we've been in contact with before. He knows Red Pill Phil. He's watched a lot of Red Pill Phil stuff. Eddie is okay. We didn't always get on in the beginning, but we've decided to talk together. We are going to disagree on things. And we're going to agree on things. We're going to be angry. We're going to be sad. All these things we'll go through, but we're big men and can come on live and we can talk to each other. That's the main thing.
And have respect for each other.
Yeah, and the respect for each other. Utmost respect.
That's the key right there. So yeah, to carry on, John. Carry on what you're saying now.
So growing up in Oldham, it's only a few miles away from Rochdale. So everybody in Oldham, people in the surrounding area, were well aware for years of the Cyril Smith thing. There'd already been, the police had already been involved in a few things to do with Cyril Smith, but because he was so high up in the government, nothing could be done. I got told a story of some victim coming forward and going to the police, and the next day, men in black suits came and visited their house. Yeah. And these men in black suits said, if anything gets said, you'll be disappearing. All the family, you lose your kids, you lose your house. Government control, you know, these guys are big. So these were the first things to do with me about our children, child abuse. As I've said, I come from, I am on Getter, ladies and gentlemen. I am, thank you in the chat there. Like I said, we come from a big family, us, and we're very family orientated. So, of course, children are important to everyone. Should be important to mums and dads, grandpas and grandmas, uncles.
Children should be the most fundamental importance, you know, in the household and outside. You know?
Yeah. Honestly, that's why I focus. I want children to be taught proper. I've showed evidence that certain kids, ethnic minority kids, aren't being taught properly, mate. Certainly the Pakistani ones in Oldham, they're not getting a good education. They're getting taught by people who can't speak English. They're not learning good values or anything. Social, economic problems.
You're absolutely right. Hence why the prison is overpopulated with a lot of Asians. You know, because of what you're saying, if you're not getting taught the most fundamental thing, how to speak the language now.
Yeah.
You have that language barrier, you're gonna become frustrated.
Yeah.
Lack of job opportunities, and this is why I think a lot of them are selling drugs.
Yeah, of course, yeah. Of course. And so growing up, I mean, good rich family background. I told you a lot about what my dad did. My mum's family is widespread across Manchester. We've got Irish blood in us. I've got a good chunk of Irish blood in us. I don't know north or south. I don't know anything about my Irish history. I've only recently just learned this. So, and then growing up, so I've always been an opinionated person. Always. I've always had my own voice to say. I'm not saying I've been a leader, but I've been a prominent person in a group. And that's come out in my work, in my real-time work. I've been a team leader, a supervisor. I've been given really lots of responsibility. Key holder for big mills are worth zillions. You know, I've had this kind of responsibility. So that's the kind of person I am. So coming up to 2000, coming up to the year 2000, the 1990s, we had the Oldham Bradford riots. It's well documented. It's nothing to do with me. I wasn't involved in it. It's just 20 years ago, this, you know, I was still closed eyes. I wasn't awake to all, but I seen my town burn. And one of the things he said then was integration got mentioned. And if we jump back right to now, I think that integration is one of the biggest key factors of a lot of things to do with our country right now. People are integrating properly. They're coming in and
It's been like that for at least 2 decades.
yeah, at least 20 years. Yes, definitely.
At least 3 decades now, for the last 30 years.
Yeah. I think we can all totally agree there.
Yeah, people stopped integrating properly. Like, you see, by the time they started the millennium,
yeah,
by 2000, the late after the 90s, done. No, there was no more integrating again.
Yeah. I would go agree wholly on that timescale.
Then after 9/11, that divided us even further.
Yeah.
To me, that was a turning point in our history.
So another thing I did in the 90s, I joined a protest against the Iraq War.
Yes.
Because then
that was, I mean, that's you know, these are the things that you know, John. Like, if you check it, when I was sitting down really studying this before I even came on, a lot of the things that you go and protest on, a lot of people actually people actually feel the same way you feel about the things you're protesting. They just don't go on the streets. You know what I mean? It's a bit like climate change. You know, it's like, fucking hell, you've seen every Tom, Dick, and Harry come out for climate change. Now, I know that you feel as frustrated as I do when you see people like this, because you're saying, hold on, you want to come out for climate change, but all the other things you're not bothered about.
Yeah. Honestly, it's like that. That's what I individually mind people. I do cover a lot of things. Some things I'm more.
I'm talking about the people who go on climate change.
Yeah.
Why aren't they interested in grooming gangs? Why are they interested? Do you understand? Why are you just interested in climate change? You know what I mean? How is that more of a threat to our children than pedophiles?
Right. Yeah. Man.
We have to look at you have to look at the biggest danger to us before you start looking at danger to us what's hundreds of years down the line. People's got to look at the imminent dangers to us right now, which is terrorist threat, paedophile gangs, whatever religion, colour, creed they are. You see, these are the direct threats to our children and all our liberty at the moment. Not fucking climate change, right? Because when the climate really has an effect, all of us will be dead long time. We'll all be dead.
So I mean, growing up, I was aware of what was going on. Now, so we had the Oldham Bradford riots 20 years ago, and then
what was those riots about? Who was rioting? Enlighten us.
Pakistanis, right, versus groups of white people from some other areas, and but the real reason behind the riots is sort of like kept under wraps. The riots happened, right, because.
Did you say the 90s? What year precisely? Do you remember?
1999.
Okay, 1999. So
yeah.
How old? Yeah. Okay. Right. I get it.
20 years.
I was 29. Yeah.
20 years ago, I was awake, but I wasn't that awake. And since then, it's got worse. And you talked about that 20-year gap. You just said that past 2 decades, yeah, which this falls into. And then I got more awake. I didn't want war, although I told you before, I like the technology of war, but I didn't want to go to the war in the Middle East. Lots of people told the government, and for a lie or whatever, Blair took us to war. You know what I mean? When we shouldn't have done. And a lot of our problems we have now are made from that time, aren't they? A lot of the issues we have now are from that time. Since then, it's got worse. We've gone to Libya. We've done stuff in Libya, and next thing, we've caused even more trouble. But saying that, a couple of years after the riots, there was a lad killed in Oldham, and he was called Gavin Hopley. Now, Oldham at that time was a big place for going out and night clubbing and bars and things like that. One of the top places in the UK, in the north of England, and he'd come out of a club, walked the wrong way. 3 of them, they got chased down by at least 9 men. One of them managed to get in somebody's house. Some old Pakistani couple let him in their house. Another one made it back to town, but Gavin didn't, and he got kicked to death. And the end, after the trial and all that lot, 9 men got convicted of violent disorder charges. Just violent disorder charges. They knew who killed him. They knew how he died. He got killed by one of the factors of him dying was a kick to the head with a fence used to propel the person. You know, he jumped on a fence and then kicked him in the head and died 3 days later. And there was nothing. Nobody said nothing. The council and that just shouted at right-wing groups, and it was nothing to do with right-wing groups. This was to do with racial tensions that have been building up for 15 years in Oldham. It's been well documented. In the early 90s, my dad, who was West Indian, and other prominent members of the council approached other prominent members of the community approached the council and the police and said about racial tensions. Then 5 or 6 years after they said that, we had the Oldham Bradford riots. And the same things that these men said then was the cause of the riots. Yeah, that's it's the same thing. And
I'm listening keenly because so where does that the whole divide between the whites and the Asians in Oldham, you know, you're guiding me through. So where does that actually, you know, it was obviously festering and bubbling, John. Where does it stem from, though? To take me a bit further back.
Well, if we look at the current climate of the council. Good evening, Peter. Good evening, everyone in the chat. Sorry, I'm just well into this talk. I just again. If we look right now at Oldham politics, the Labour Party is blamed a lot for supporting certain communities to get the vote more than other communities. It's well known in Oldham. It's well known. Nothing to do with me. It's well known in Oldham that they support other communities to get their block vote.
Close to your Batley, wasn't she?
Yeah, Batley. It's in Bradford, that a few miles away.
Talk about the Joe Cox. So what's your take on the Joe Cox murder then?
Right. Well, the guy who they said killed her never killed her. It was some kind of setup, some kind of. She might have known something that someone didn't want her to say. There's a lot of evidence out there, investigative, reportive evidence that shows there's a lot of flaws in everything that happened. The procedures took for the case, the CCTV. They've had guys in who we know that there's people who can identify people the way they walk and things like that. They've had all these experts in, and there's loads of discrepancies throughout all that case, and it's never been pushed to sort it out. Even the family wasn't allowed to go to the court case in London. The direct family wasn't allowed to go to the court case in London. There's a lot of things wrong with it. things are wrong with people involved in the situation.
The person who killed her didn't kill her. It was someone else.
No, it didn't. It was someone else. He was a patsy. He's a
So the
patsy.
person who killed, so you're saying that the real murderer is Artie?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I never heard that before.
Well, what I'll do, I'll send you the best investigative reported person who did it was Richard D. Hall. So I'll next on one of your videos, I'll put the link up to his video to do with that case. And when you watch it, you'll think, you know, listen, man, Mr. T, if you said to me that the government will never get away with doing something like this, I disagree. The government can get away big.
Hey, Bertrand, we've been saying it. Them people can get away with anything.
Yeah.
So we've been telling people for years and years, and when we've been telling people this, John, people look at us and they're ready to put you in psychiatric unit.
Yeah.
Do you understand? When you tell people, listen, brother, we were telling people about the Vatican and the hideous, despicable crimes that we knew that they did. And, you know, it's only this Pope who's really come out after all these popes, you know.
Yeah.
And said, I'm sorry, the Vatican, you know, we apologize for all the historical crimes, you know, of buggery, of sodomizing. Oh, come on, man. You know, this is real, man. And when we've been telling people these for years and years, people look at you like you're mad.
Yeah. Honestly.
You know, this shit is from the top, man.
Yeah.
It's right at the top, man. Right at the top. The more higher you get to the aristocratic and to the elites, man, the more you know what you're gonna. You know, the more they don't want you to get there, because what the things you're gonna earn earth on the way there, and you know the game. You got to keep your mouth shut.
Yeah.
In
Honestly,
order to reach the top, in order to reach the top in any of your field, right? In any of the work spectrum, across the whole spectrum, there's going to be corruption. And in order for you to climb up that ladder of your profession, you have to keep your mouth shut and turn a blind eye to it.
Yeah.
That's just how the world goes around, John. You know.
Yeah. So
On corruption.
So there was another big factor to the way to the my direction that I went. So 2006, my dad died. He was 83. He'd had a brilliant life. He'd done loads of things. Governor of schools, worked with organisation, big union man, stuck up for everyone's rights through the 70s and 80s when people wanted to get better pay and stuff like that. My dad was at the forefront of all this. And so he passed away 2006. So 2007, at the end of 2007, I moved up to Bradford, central Bradford, Sticker Lane.
How far is Oldham to Bradford? How far is that?
About 30 odd miles, 38 miles or something like that.
Even though it's 30 odd miles, is it much of a culture difference?
Not really, no. Not really, because they're both Pakistani areas and high in West Indians and things like that, just like Oldham.
Is what both Pakistani areas and what?
And in Bradford, there's a lot of Pakistani areas in Bradford that's similar kind of thing to what's.
Is there West Indians there?
Yeah, there's plenty of West Indians. Our cousins, our cousins' family lived up there, and their family in Nine, and they lived in Bradford.
But tell me something, John. Just like in Oldham, answer me this: does the Caribbean and the Pakistanis integrate in Oldham and Bradford?
Well, what do you mean integrate? They have to go to.
Integrate? Do they go to each other's house? Or do they go out together to the pub? Do they integrate?
No, they don't really go out to the pub with each other. No, there's none of that.
They don't. Do you see them jamming together on the street? You know, like Asian and black man walking down the road and in their cars or nothing like that. No.
Not really. No.
So it's very separate. Huh?
Yeah. It's part of the thing up here. That segregation, and that's it's a big issue. So I were in Bradford and I spent 5 years up there. And after a couple of years, got to know someone, a geezer I worked with. And the story went, he moved off somewhere else. He's got a wife and a daughter. And then a few years later, he's fell out of his wife and she's moved to South Yorkshire. Yeah, with the daughter. And, you know, he's got access now, he's going up. And then a couple of years later, towards the end of the 5 years now, so I've known him 5 years. And towards the end of the 5 years, I seen him one time, he's dead upset. And what he said was, when his wife moved with kid, it affected the daughter, but they didn't realise. Yeah. And then she ended up getting groomed. Now, she never got raped or anything, but there was other stuff done. Yeah, and he tried to report it, and nothing happened. So he called me one day, and three of us went up and we drove to Sheffield and we went to the police station. He had some addresses, I think some car registrations, and a couple of other business addresses, and some information on a sheet. And we tried to go to the police, and they wouldn't have none of it. We nearly got arrested because I started to kick off. My mate started to kick off because we, you know.
It must be very, very frustrating. You know, when I look on you, and I can see, you know, it's got to be very frustrating. You know, because it's like we're fighting a losing battle.
Yeah.
You know, it's like we're fighting a losing battle. It's like we're banging our heads against the wall because there's just this massive cover up for pedophiles, man.
Yeah. Honestly.
A massive, and I've never understand it. I never understand the law. How the police used to make such a massive thing about cannabis and hash, and you know, back in our day, it was just cannabis and hash we was dealing with, you know.
Of course, I've said this many times. It was the worst thing you could get at the West Indian Club was a bit of hash. That's it.
John, if you see the way the feds have gone on about this thing, brethren, it's like the way they've come after people, us for weed and cannabis and. Virgin, our whole thing was, why aren't you going? How could a nonce, rape, do all these mad things of a rapist and just get 2 years, 3 years, and a man with a couple of zeds, couple ounces is getting 10 years, bro?
Yeah.
This has always been like that, from once we was youths, when we was children.
Yeah.
And we were screaming out this injustice for years and years and years. And even now, they still won't legalize this fucking thing called herb. It's a fucking plant. What the fuck?
I know, it's mad, innit? It's mad. So.
No, man, they will give Rastaman 20, 30 fucking years for her. And you've seen the nuts getting nothing, getting a slap on the wrist. We've been screaming this shit out for years, man. Years. It's total. The law in this country, we know that the people who make the law, you have to look at them, man. You have to look at these people. You have to look at the crimes that they've been accused of and being convicted of.
Yeah.
Too many judges, high court judges with their wigs and their dresses. Man, I told you about their dress code, John. And that's there for a reason. You know, when I was in Crown Court and I was looking at these judges when they're judging me, I used to think, look at the way you dress. Pedophiles are nonsense. Slap on the wrist, and they treat drug people who sell drugs. You know, weed, hash. You know, now you're selling cocaine and you know, and crack. You get 24, 30 years. You know, but you know, even me who's totally against hard drugs. That's my field. You know that. But I even say, how could you give someone 30 years for selling drugs, but a man who's raped 6, 7, 8 girls, he gets like 8 years. Do you know what I mean, John?
Yeah.
I mean, it's crazy.
It is.
I get 14.
But money, you're going to get, money means more time. Money means more convictions. Anything to do with money, even if it's illegal money, you're going to get more time. You know what I mean?
How long do they really get? When you look on the conviction, I've seen them. You see that 12, 14 Asian man, and they're getting 3 years, 2 years, 4 years. How long are they getting? Nothing.
Nothing.
What they tried to do, John, they tried to sensationalize the title. Oh, gang gets 74 years. Gang gets 100 years. And when you break it down, there's about 15 men doing 18 months each.
Yeah, and don't forget when one girl gets there was Victoria Gawley in Manchester, and she died. One person got convicted of giving her heroin. They knew that over 100 men had raped her. They knew where the men was from, and in the end, only 5 men or 6 men get convicted. You know what I mean? But hundreds of men.
Was that a Bradford case?
No, this is Manchester. This Victoria Agolia. But so that 2000. Yeah, only a small amount, and that's in a lot of the cases. A three girls case in Rochdale. It were 9 men who got convicted, but the hundreds of men raped these girls.
What's the Rochdale case? The one on the telly, the big one.
Yeah. The three girls.
Everybody was in on it.
Yeah.
The whole council, the mayor, everybody.
Yeah.
Everybody. Cover up from start to bottom.
But Rochdale have a good record on covering it up. You remember when I was talking about the Cyril Smith days and the No View Home? The leader, the then leader in the 80s or early 90s was called Richard Farnell, and to a public inquiry, he lied, and they told him he'd lied to an public inquiry about not knowing about sex abuse at No View Home in Rochdale. Yeah, and he lied, and he didn't. There was no accountability. He never got a conviction. Never got sent to jail. He lied. He knew child abuse had gone on at No View Home, and he lied to a national inquiry, a public inquiry.
So why would he lie, John?
Well,
I know he lied, but I mean, I'm saying, why do they lie? Why do they lie?
Well, he was either.
Tell the truth. Why don't they just tell the truth?
He was either in on it himself, or if he lies, he won't be the council leader. You know, if you don't go their way, you're never going to get there. You know what I mean?
You see my point? What I said to you, John?
Yeah.
That's what I said just 5 minutes ago.
Yeah.
To reach the top, you have to keep your mouth quiet.
Yeah.
And John, that's why there's so much fucking corruption in every part of everything, man.
Yeah.
My God, but that's why I commend you, my brother, on the path you're taking in your national housing party, because everything stems from this. Everything what's going wrong in the country is going to, what they've done to us is resulting in people losing their homes and resorting to more and more homelessness.
Yeah, definitely. I've just put everyone putting for a couple of seconds. I got me party banner up on my screen, but it's coming off. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen, no one's seen that yet. Hopefully, it's getting approved, and I will be a political party in 6 weeks, and I'll be the leader.
Brother, that's going to be one big celebration.
It is.
That's going to be one celebration in the Lawrence household, my people.
It is.
And it's well just as well. So think fucking right, John, because nobody would have saw that coming when you was a wee lad now.
No.
Nobody saw this coming, did they?
No.
They saw you. How did they see you when you was a wee lad, John? When you was like a teenager going Oldham football, they saw you as a fuck now, didn't they?
No. I weren't a fuck.
Did you used to go to football for Oldham?
No, I never. I'm not a big football supporter. I've been to the Oldham ground plenty of times, but
I thought you used to go Oldham football, you know.
Not play, but I have been to the. No, I'm not a football fan like that. It's not me. I'm not a tourist boy. Definitely not a tourist boy.
I thought you was a tourist. I thought you would know, because why I said that, John. The reason I said that is because Red Pill Phil, we used to do a lot of interviews with the Football Democratic Lads Alliance and all that.
Right? Yeah.
Because I thought you all came from that football terrace.
No. It's nothing like that. I mean, the people I've met come from a really broad range of people. You know what I mean. From
Army veterans, kind of the hot top.
from veterans to people who are mental health, just working class people, obviously. But you know,
Most of these people on when you go to protest on the EDL from the years ago.
no. The couple of EDL right. So when I got into this protesting thing, I'd already heard there'd been some big protests, and I'd already heard there'd been a protest at Dover. So there's loads of video footage, and I want to go and see the protest. I want to see what it's like for myself. Like I told you, I'm not satisfied, me, until I go and see it myself. I wasn't satisfied until I went to Dover myself and seen what were going on, seen how big the situation is in Dover. Yeah, it's a lot bigger than what you see on the telly. So I wanted to go and get on demos and see what they were like. So I mean, the EDL demos were all right, but one of the most hardcore demos I went on was in the Northeast, and it was Bishop Auckland Against Islam and the Northeast Infidels. Yeah. And some of these lads have been done for violence in Dover in 2016 or 15 when there were clashes there. But and then I progressed. I went on a couple of EDL marches. The Worcester one was really good. I like the Worcester one. And then progressed then for going on other marches and stuff like that. Not always with right-wing groups. I went on a lot of Brexit things and things to do with UKIP and stuff like that, you know. And I want to see what these marches are like. I want to see what there is. You hear on the radio, you see on the radio, but you're never going to know until you're there yourself. And from that stage, I progressed to speaking and stuff like that on a wide range of platforms, you know. And then I'm here now doing it all myself, you know. But that's me. I want to see the action for myself. I want to, if something's happened somewhere, someone's been killed, I want to go there and see the actual place. When the woman got burnt in Bury outside her house, I went to outside her house to look at the street. I talked to people in the street, you know, people who lived there, and got a view of it that you can't get just looking on telly. And that is me all the way through, wanting to look at that side of it, you know, the bigger picture.
I totally understand that.
But in the Oldham riots, go on.
No, you go on. You're saying the Oldham riot?
Right, so in the Oldham riots, one of the things that comes out in paper, it says about the British National Party and the BNP, that they caused trouble. It wasn't them who caused the trouble, because if the official report, right, states lack of integration, then that isn't anyone's fault except for the councils and that community. It's not the white community's fault. It's not the West Indian community's fault. It's the council and the particular community they're going on about. And that were the reasons. But they always bring up the BNP and stuff like that. But I heard that there was a few BNP coming up to Oldham. And I wanted to meet these guys. And this is years ago. This is 20 years ago. This isn't now. This is 20 years ago. And I want to meet these guys because obviously the rhetoric you get off the media is that they're all right-wing Nazis with swastikas on their arms. That's kind of rhetoric you get off the media, because they don't want the nationalist group coming in. Because if the nationalist group coming in would be stopping child sexual abuse, would be stopping the curriculum, teaching kids transgender, this, that would stop all this if a nationalist group come in. It's not what the globalists want. So, and I came up to Oldham that day to the town centre with a couple of mates, and there was about 8 or 9 of these lads and a couple of women with them. And I went over talking to 3 lads, and they were only young. I was like 30 something, and they was about the same age. And there was a mixed race lad with them, if I think on correctly back then. But like I said, it's a few years ago. And I just talked to them, and there was normal working class lads. They didn't have tattoos on. They weren't going around beating anyone up who were black or anything like that. You know, they just weren't doing anything like that. And from that time then, I looked at things a bit different. I didn't believe the narrative that's painted. I looked into stuff myself. I went looking at avenues, at looking at stuff. I did research on the internet. I met people. I talked to people. This is what I did, and it's give me a different outlook on things. Now, I'm not saying that everyone in the UK isn't racist. There is racists in the UK. There's racists in all shapes, colours, and sizes. Racism does not mean just one colour or one ethnicity can be worse than another one. There is extreme prejudice racist in religion. And that's not Church of England Christians. That's other religions that are like that. So I look at that point, and I just want justice. I want justice for everyone. I want justice for Andre Mora, who got kicked to death by the police in Oldham. I want justice for Gavin Opley, a white lad who was killed in Glodick, and they only got violent disorder charges. I want justice for the 3 black lads who were killed in London by somebody else, some other gang. I want justice for everyone. I don't want a world where we live and the knife is the king of everything. The knife says, I don't want that. Our youth, and across the board, maybe some ethnicities more than other, but our youth, even the white youth, are worse than ever. They're going around with weapons and knives and things like that, and it's just not good. It's not good.
Okay, nice. You touched on that. So what does the future look like for the youth in Oldham?
It looks bad.
Okay, let's say for white youths, for example.
White youths, it's bad. Every youth, it's going to be bad. Maybe some more than others, but it's bad for everyone. It's not. This youth thing doesn't just pick one particular color. Some particular colors might look worse than others, but it is across the board. It's everyone who's doing it. There's white lads pulling knives and bats out and beating people in the street. There's white teenagers smashing people with bottles in Oldham in the street. And
why do you think the young kids nowadays, John, don't bat an eyelid to kill me or you, or kill another youth, or just kill anyone? Why don't they? What is it with them, do you think?
Well, we could say it's gang mentality, but I think it's more of less peer control or peer influence, meaning that we can't clip. When I was young, my dad clipped me around the ear roll if I did something wrong. Yeah, you can't clip kids around the ear roll now. You can't do things like that. And of course we're pushing on children now this trans thing and sexual education, which is affecting the mental health. And then you get them 2 gay girls, you get one of them killing a baby. You know what I mean? Stuff like that. And all these people who are killing kids, all these adults who are killing kids, some of them must have mental health issues, or COVID as well. Absolutely. But no, I think it's one of the things. I think it's the peer control and the peer pressure.
Okay, if you look during the whole of COVID time, the young kids are the gang crime has gone a lot higher, and because if you look, why it's very easy. I mean, there's a vacuum. Everywhere's shut down. There's no way for them to turn to. So it's a lot of frustration. I look at them and that generation. There's absolutely, there was nothing during the last 2 years. There's nothing there for them. There's absolutely nothing they're left on their own. If you try to, even if the parents want some kind of help from social services or whatever, there's nothing there. They're at home. Everywhere's shut down. Everywhere's shut down, John. So I've seen it increase. Just like the way mental health and everything's increased over the last 2 years because of this madness.
Yeah.
You see me?
Yeah.
So that's just got a lot to do with it right now, John. It really has. The lack of opportunities. No work, poverty. All these things. It's a combination of things, John. But the future really doesn't look bright for a lot of for the young generation out there, because it doesn't look bright for our generation. So if it doesn't look bright for our generation in work, job aspects and things like that, brother, then the younger kids, the parents are not able to give a lot of hope, you know, because outside of London, man, things is very dire. You know, brother, when I look at places like where you are, things are very, very dire, and you can see how things manifest in the frustration.
Yeah.
And you can see how the riots, that's what I want to know. Like those riots, there must be, there's a combination because of frustration of, there's no work up them sides there. There's no fucking money, you know? So if there was rioting 20 years ago, you know what it is as well, John? People need to point the finger at something, and they start pointing their finger at each other when people really need to, like what you're focusing on is to point the finger at the government, because why everyone is in a dire straits, everyone is in this fucking impoverished position, it's not because of each other, it's because of the government.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And previous governments, when you people can't just say one government, it's the fucking all the fucking governments for a long time. You know, I'm never gonna lie about this here. Thatcher was a rascal fucker, but you know what? Thatcher was still the best fucking prime minister they had. They haven't had a better prime minister since Thatcher, you know.
Yeah. I think a lot of people who agree on this. Did it?
Because we've seen who else has done that for the council houses and everything. I mean, you buy your own council place and things since Thatcher. Nobody. Thatcher started that.
Yeah. Right to buy. Yeah, that's why my sister got her house cheap, and people did get good family homes and stuff like that. I think they stopped it now in a lot of places, but that'd be something that I'd be willing to bring back in my party as policy if I ever got to government. That right to buy your own property.
And another thing is the housing association. You haven't got in London. You can't buy if you're a housing association. You don't have the right to buy it. You only got the right to buy council.
Yeah.
And that's the serious loophole right there, where they got you by the short and girlies, because a lot of the nice properties happen to be housing associations.
Yeah, they do, yeah.
You know what I mean? So they're very clever, John. They're very clever in the way they play. It's a game, isn't it, John? It's a game, and we're just merely pawns in their game.
So I mean, I've like I said, I've always been an opinionated person. The incident in Sheffield was a prominent thing to push me. The way I went, I looked more into Islam and Muslims. I seen more of up to the 90s. I was fine. I was fine with immigration. I had some issues, but I was fine. But we know that since the 90s, since the 2000s, the past 20 years, immigration has been massive over its. Instead of having tens of thousands of people in, we've had hundreds of thousands of people in. This is across the board. It's a disgrace to the Conservatives. And it's the past 20 years. The figures are quite freely available on the internet. If anyone would like, I'll Google it up now. I hate saying something without already showing the proof, and I've showed this proof many times. The past 20 years, net immigration has skyrocketed.
I'm going to tell you about immigration. You know, John, in London, right? I'm not a word of no lie. You could walk down the road sometimes, John, and every person you see is a foreigner. Yeah, you could go certain places and you could ask. I remember going West End, and I asked someone. It took me about 15 people I asked before someone spoke English.
Right.
No word of no lie. I'm not lying to you.
Oh, I know you're not. I know you're not.
I'm telling you the gospel truth. I was walking up to white people thinking the next one's got to be English, and you think it's Joe. You're seeing these white women and you swear that blonde hair, blue eyes, this one's jogging. Hello, how are you? No, just complete different language from that. You
No, it's big. Another place I've been to a lot over the years since I was a teenager is Peterborough.
Okay. I know Peterborough, yeah.
A lot of time in Peterborough, different reasons, but one of the Domino's clubs that my dad's club went to was in Peterborough, and they had a big Jamaican West Indian community in Peterborough. So
Okay. That's right.
I went down there, and it was great back in the days. You know, we go to the underground club and all that lot.
Nice. It was nice, isn't it?
Yeah, and then I come back up 15 years later with my mum, and I've been going, and I'm waiting outside a shop during the day, and this like woman comes up to me and offers me sex, and she's Eastern European, and it's like during the day at like 11 o'clock in the morning. And I'm with my mum while my mum's in a second-hand shop looking for bargains. And I'm like, I'm not here for any of that. I'm not here for any of that. It's just walked off. But, you know, and looking at the figures, there's a lot of stuff like that's happened in Peterborough, Eastern European crime, the sex trade and stuff like that.
It's
And
not good. It's really not good. I'll tell you why. Because this is where, when they let in all these kind of people in, they have a very low, outlook on our women, on British women.
yeah,
And this is why in London a lot of Eastern European men have raped a lot of English women, young girls they've raped. And I remember one of them, they raped a young girl from school near the canal, and he already raped someone, he already murdered someone in Romania or something. Yeah, and he murdered a girl. He raped her and he murdered her. This is not long. This is in the last 10 years. Yeah. And there's a lot of them, John, like that. So you have to look at, because they're letting all these people. They don't know they don't even know where half of these people are. You know, they don't even know who they are.
yeah. It's well documented that Eastern European immigration, and I'm picking on a lot of people here: Polish, Albanian, Romanian.
All of them. Some of them. Look, I don't even know half of the island states. I don't even know what countries half of these people come from. All I know is the aliens.
Yeah, and they've committed, though, these people we've let over have committed murder, rape, drug dealing, sex trafficking.
In their country, in their little towns where they come from.
Yeah.
And they plan out what they do. They come over here, do the same thing to our women, our children, and escape back to their country. A lot of them don't even get detected.
Yeah. There's loads of that. It's well documented, mate. It's very well documented that that kind of the crime wave coming in, and I mean, like I said, 20 years ago.
What are we going to do about it, though? What can we do about it?
Well,
the protesting, marching, does that solve the problem?
No, it isn't.
So what are we going to do about it? Now you've come to that conclusion, you've set up your party where you can actually make some serious inroads and try to do something about it, John, innit?
Referendum. We have a referendum already, because we've come out of the EU. Some Eastern Europeans are going to have to come back, and we've been too soft on them. We said, oh, you can this, that, and the other. You know, if we came out of the EU, then everyone should have gone back who was here through the EU. They should have all gone back. You know what I mean? But it's too late for that now. But I would be having referendums. I'd want a vote again on. I don't want any permanent settlement to the UK from anywhere in the world. I don't care what colour you are. Anywhere in the world, don't want anyone coming here. And I would have a.
I told you the other day, we're overloaded.
Yeah.
We can't take another human.
Not just overloaded. There's plenty of reasons why we shouldn't have. One of the reasons that you brought up the other day was, yeah, one of the things you touched on the other day is identity. Yeah, that's one of the things you touched on and it's a big thing with all these fascists or Tommy Robbins supporters, whoever you want. It's a big thing with all them, that identity. It's a big thing with me. It's a big thing with you. It's a big thing with a lot of people.
Yeah, I love it now. You see, this is what I love, because it's identification, right? Not just identity. just a notice, but the Englishman is respect. You're meant to identify as an Englishman. What are you meant to? If all your roots are here, what are you meant to? How are you meant to look at yourself, though?
Yeah. But that's
everybody. So if you're proud, okay, of your. A lot of these European people are very proud. They come over here and they hate the British. They come over here and they hate the British because they're proud. I'm proud of Romania, you know. Hate the British, you know. Just over here to get my money and fuck off, you know. Right? No problem, right? So you have to look on. Everyone's proud, right? Everyone's proud of where they come from. But you're coming over Yassa, the place you hate, to take all the money and fuck off back. That's not right.
No, it isn't. It isn't right.
We now. Oh, we got here a different way. You know, we got here a different way, man. We're different generations of settlers here now, man. You know, we're different, man. So it's a different shit because, all right, I am very happy that I'm actually born in England. I'm actually very happy I'm born in London. I've never actually shied away from that fact, John, because I know the whole hardship of the Caribbean. I know the whole hardship of Africa. I know the whole hardship of South America. I know the whole hardship of the fucking world.
Yeah, what did you say to me the other day, though? You know, like we talked about this. Britain has took many people in, all different kinds of people throughout the ages. You know, we've had, well, recently, in recent history, we've took in a lot of people, and, you know, a lot of them have integrated, some of them haven't, but, you know, it's a home for everyone. There's people who can come here to make a better life for themselves, and we should. Anybody who comes to England should be privileged that they've got the chance to come here, build a better life for them and their family, to make themselves more richer and all that. You don't get them things by giving them to you. You've got to work hard and stuff like that. My dad worked hard to get to the positions.
You know something? The majority of people I see, as me and you get older, me personally, as I get older, I see why. If I speak to a Chinese, a Japanese, a Philippine person or whatever, I see why they're so happy when they tell you all the opportunities that they've got in this country that they wouldn't have got in their country, brother.
Yeah.
And I speak to people all over the world who tell me the same thing.
Yeah.
So I'm totally in agreement there.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of things, though, that it's a lie, such as the universities in the UK. They're not the best universities in the world. The reason why people come over here is because of the funding the university gives you is the best.
Yeah, you are. Yeah, you know, you're right. You're right.
Oh man.
But I mean, another thing with me as well. I don't really have a high opinion of a religion, but I don't want to go down the route of picking on the Bible or picking on the Quran. Yeah, because in the end, it's other people who are responsible for the situations we're in now. It's not me and you. It's not your community down there. It's not my community. There's somebody bigger. Sorry, guys, I was doing something off camera, that's all, but I am here. I am still here.
It's always been bigger. This is why I have never, I can't point I point the finger at people. I do. Like, I look at since 9/11 and I say, you've got to look at Islam. And I would look at Islam as why have you behaved, why have you tried to take over England? Why have you trying to take over the world since 9/11? You know? So I do speak up on it. I do speak up. I don't lie. You know, I don't lie about shit. I speak up on it. And as I said, brother, it's like you look on people in prison, for example, and you know, people. I want to ask you something, though, John. Before I go into that, why? You live up near Sheffield. You're going up near Sheffield, Bradford. Sheffield is the highest converted city of Islamic people in England. You know that, and I know that, right?
Yeah.
Right. Do you know how much? Please tell me, John. John, now you bring it your A game and tell me why so much people born in the UK, white, no, black and mixed race, especially in Sheffield, right? Mixed race people, British, have converted to Islam. Please tell me, enlighten me. Tell me here.
I don't really know the story, but I think if you was talking to, like, say, Tommy Robinson, he'd be able to tell you how they got converted and the kind of things that they do to convert you. But I don't myself. I don't know. I just don't know that I can't comment because I don't know how conversion.
But you haven't got one family member that's converted.
Well, yeah, I've got a half Pakistani nephew, so he hasn't converted. He wants to go Muslim.
He wants to.
Well, his dad's Pakistani.
Okay, so is he a Muslim then?
Yeah, he is. Practicing Muslim. Whether
So
it.
you haven't grown up with no friends who are black or mixed race, who's converted, or even white who's converted to Islam, have you?
Not my age, no.
Younger?
Younger, yes.
And do you also know why they've converted?
No, I really don't know. I don't know. Like I said, I don't know. I don't know about converting to Islam. I don't know the things involved in it. I can't say so. But I do know that people have. I don't know why. I know that though when you go in prison, a lot of people convert in prison just to be safe and stuff like that. But other than that, I can't tell you because I just don't know that side of it. I'm not as clued up on converting and this, that, and the reasons why. I'm just not. You know what I mean? But there is a problem. You're obviously putting out.
I personally, I know why people convert. I know why. Because I know why black people convert. I know why. I see it. Why? Because there's not a family structure. They feel more of a belonging. Because
it broke.
It's why people join the EDL and different groups to feel a belonging, to feel a brotherhood. So much people they're on their ones.
Yeah, I can logically that sounds absolutely bang on logically. You're right, and we know that they've broken down our family units, haven't they?
That's right. Take for example, where black people is very church orientated, and they stop going to church, man. And then when you stop going to church, you just stop bring up their children religious. And I know Rasta people who don't practice Rasta, so then their children are growing up with no direction, no guidance, and the Rasta man selling crack and heroin, and the young boy is going to do the same. So I just see a whole breakdown. The man lose direction, and the young son, so he wants to get some kind of direction, and he converts to Islam.
Yeah.
Because he's belonging and something he feels is a bit more truer than what his dad is living. There's all kind of shit I see. So I look and I see, and I see, the majority of the people, John, I must say this, who are religious, I see, whether they're Islam, Christian, I see that their religion keeps them, their faith keeps them in one, keeps them balanced. And I say sometimes it keeps them balanced as in they don't do crime, they go to work, they boom, boom, boom. But if they interact with you, they're not balanced people because all they want to talk about is their religion. They don't want to discuss nothing else. So you can't be balanced, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree. You're right there. The breakdown of the family unit is well documented. I've talked about this before. The way they're indoctrinating our children breaks it down even more. And like you said, there's a home gone. And I do believe when our party starts, I do believe that we can have a Church of England community or a Christian community. We should bring it back to the UK. That has been the dominant religion here, personally, myself. My second in command wants to no more mosques, and I'm happy to go ahead with that. There's different things, but I'm willing to do all that and to better practice being a family unit. And even though I have a low opinion of religion, it's not that I haven't spent time with religion over my life. My West Indian side of the family is very religious.
Was your dad very religious?
My dad wasn't too very religious. He went to church and all that, but my first cousins in Bradford, they're very religious.
Okay.
Yeah, and we spent a lot of time in Bradford in churches. I went to the Boys Brigade. I went to Sunday school. These are all linked to church organisations. So that's my upbringing, my Church of England upbringing, just a general guy believing equality for all. That's what we was taught at school, and stuff like that. But now in our country, we have religions that promote the beating of women. We have religions that promote like honor violence and stuff like that.
Okay. So I will touch on that now. I see a lot of black men who I know convert to Islam for the wrong reason. Be it control, yeah. They like the idea of this control thing. And I see men who I know convert to Christianity and Jehovah's Witness to control, yeah. I've seen how they use religion to control girl and the way pimps use fucking pimp prostitutes for control.
Yeah. Well, it's well known, it's well documented. Religion is a good form of control.
I've seen it.
Yeah.
Most of these men who convert to Islam, black men, they convert because them say, "Raw, I never know I could have 3 wives and do all this fuckery and look, yeah, I can't do nothing, man. I could beat her and she still have to be submissive and all this fuckery. Doing it for all the wrong reasons. You understand?
Yeah. I agree. But we do.
They don't seem something. I mean, the majority of them might be doing it for the right reasons, you know. But I'm saying to you, in my experience, now, the ones I see who's converted, them happen to, and I talk, they're my brethren, and I say, why you only convert? Why you convert to Islam then? Why? Because we could do all kind of thing, and you know what I mean? And like, why? We just play the game, you know? And I say, the man they are burning their weed, they're doing every fucking thing, right?
Yeah.
Before there was Islam, but they're wearing the long robes and doing a bag of shit, right? And they're telling me, some of them herbs in my car. This is me, I say, and they're saying, and they're spraying themselves from the oils afterwards, and they don't want their wife to smell it. You say it. It's just holy for fuckery. You know, that there's none of them. If these people was actually practicing the word of Islam, do you think the prisons will be full of fucking Islamic blood clot prisoners then? If you was practicing the word of your fucking Quran, you wouldn't be doing no blood clot crime. You would be listening to your Muhammad.
Yeah.
Does Muhammad tell you to sell drugs? Does Muhammad tell you to drive to a £50,000 Rolex watch? Did Muhammad tell you that? God asked them that for me.
Does Muhammad tell you to talk like a West Indian as well?
Well, tell them that he look like he's near Kingston. Look like it's near Kingston Airport. No, it's not. So don't speak like that. We could speak how we speak because that's where our people come from now. So we can speak like this because we can say, you're right. Hold on. In my household, my household was speaking black because they came straight from the plane from Grenada. Then all my brothers were from Jamaica, so they spoke Jamaican. All their family spoke Jamaican. We're in Harlesden. It's very hard to get English-speaking black people for in the 70s.
Yeah, I agree. I have to agree. My dad come over, and his generation was like that. They had to learn.
John, if you went into the black household, you couldn't understand nothing as a little English kid. You couldn't understand. Everyone speaking fast. You couldn't understand nothing, John. It's like going into Ireland and trying to understand the language and they speak fast.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
So it's the same thing as the Caribbean people. Everything's fast, 100 miles per hour. but at the same time, John, they were so happy, jovial people. The Windrush generation, your father's generation, our parents' generation. going to Domino's. They were, you know something, brother? What you people must put out there, what I must put out there is this. Even though there was all this racial tension during our parents' days, when me and John was little boys, you would never have think so the way our parents carry themselves. Because they never brought it home. A lot of parents didn't want to bring it home. They would go Domino's, take little John with him, and you would never think there was racial tension because they were so jovial.
Yeah, yeah.
They were so happy. They were the happiest times of me and John's life back in them days. And me and John would never get them days back again.
No, we won't.
Because those were the happiest times. That's when black people was really black people. Okay? When you see the black man, he's opened the door for you. You know, he's opened the door for you. And they say, oh, thank you, sir. And these Caribbean people, they came over from the Caribbean with pure manners. People would tell you, they represented black people to the T. When white people saw how the black people, men were dressed in their hat and their jacket and their coat, and their shiny shoes, they couldn't believe black people look like that with no money.
Yeah, you're right. The Windrush, the boat on the Windrush, everyone come over. My dad did it. My dad came over with his best suit on and his best hat.
Thank you. And when you look at that picture, the man looks so handsome and so proud. Right? You know that. And I know that. And people couldn't believe it. How these Caribbean people carry themselves so elegant. And there was no money. The English people said, how these peasants, these people carry themselves so proud and so elegant. And they look like $1 million and they got nothing.
Yeah.
So we have to, we can't tell no lies. It was the truth. And there was the happiest times of these people's lives, even though the racial tension, what they was enduring, everything was so hard. You know what? That's why people say England wasn't that bad. Compared to a lot of different countries, I tell people, I say black people, if you think of us them time, imagine being in Germany then. Right. Imagine being in Russia. Okay then. You have to think England wasn't that bad.
No, it hasn't been.
No, it hasn't been. I'm sorry. I'm born Yassa in 1970, and my journey hasn't been that bad over Yassa. We like when we compared to what we were seeing, what we were seeing in apartheid in South Africa and shit. Come on, man. I was just grateful I was living in England.
Yeah. Well, I mean, medical care. I don't know if you know the guy. It's called White Yardie. White Yardie, yeah, he's a bit of a comedian guy, and his story was his mum's white, obviously. He's got from a white family. He lived in Jamaica, but she came over here to have birth to him because it was safer. You know, they had to pay money, but they came here. She had him, and then he went back to Jamaica, and he spent the rest of his life in Jamaica as a white man. You know, and he speaks the same as everyone else. But, health-wise, when my dad come over, a lot of the people on that boat, they didn't, like I said, they didn't have nothing. They spent all the money to pay for the journey over here.
John, I tell you, exactly. Thank you, John. John, it's like, that's the happiest times of my life, man. You know, as I'm saying, the 70s and the 80s, John. You know, the 70s and the 80s, John, boy, was the happiest time of my life.
Mine too.
And I love reminiscing, and because I'm nostalgic, man, because I'm nostalgic. You know, I love, when I used on Saturday, we used to watch Duke of Hazzard.
Yeah.
The Dukes of Hazzard, you know.
Yeah.
And they're telling you, that's what you say, hold on a minute. So these are like redneck county people, but they make it look really funny and comedy, you know? So I loved it. I mean, I was a happy days, man. I was the Fonz, Kojak, Starsky and Hutch, man.
Oh, yeah. Done them all. I done them all, man. And
man, Streets of San Francisco.
Oh.
Hawaii Five-0, man.
Yeah.
You know, so that was one our time. You know, we're watching Dallas, you're watching JRU and Who Killed Who Ellis. 100 million people tune into Who Killed JRU.
Oh, they were. Then with the days, and then it changed in the 90s, and I put the link up in the chat to a government PDF, and you can see.
I'm telling you, brother, England was the place to fucking be, right? There would never ever be a better time than that. And then after that, what happened? It even got even better. It even got even better because in my mom's time, my mom used to always tell me about the swinging 60s and like Woodstock and all these fucking mad places,
Yeah.
And then we had acid. Acid came in. Acid raves came in, John.
Yeah, music leading throughout the 80s, the 90s into the 2000s, music leading. I mean,
we had acid and we had that whole peace and love shit. The acid thing, it united people like race and really everyone. Nothing ever's done before, man.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. It was a good time then, and it was a good time like that.
I went into acid raves with 50,000 people outdoor, and there was not one incident.
No, you're right. Honestly.
Every week, you would not know who is fascist and who's not. It's just one love, one peace, one rainbow. And I said, you know what? This is my shit. That whole shit, man. If it continued, that whole movement, oh mate. Do you know what? Do you know another thing, John? With those 50,000 people in them acid raves, yeah. You know when you went around speaking to every one of them, everyone spoke English.
Yeah, they did, didn't they?
Everyone spoke English.
I love it.
Everyone spoke English. You might have a Mancunian accent, you might have a London accent.
Or a Scouse accent.
But we was all British. That was our thing again, our movement.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you talk about that. So in the 80s, you got the formation of UB40, the ska bands and stuff like that were coming together, bringing a really interesting mix of music to the UK, which ended up world dominating the music era.
So much we are the pioneers of so much different music in this country. Unbelievable. On Northern Soul. Man.
Northern Soul. There's Northern Soul. Arlene's there. Northern Soul, not Northern Soul. Northern Soul, another good one. Another one. Another.
Man, I know. I told you about. I used to go in Hacienda Club. I told you that, man.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
I mean, look, man, the whole fucking movement. Stay away. Oh man, that song Pacific is one of the best songs ever. Right? Stay away. And you see when Stone Roses did Fool's Gold.
Yeah.
I knew that song was gonna be a classic.
Yeah.
The minute I heard it.
The indie scene, another music genre, the indie scene, and that was specifically in the northwest in Manchester. Yeah. They're all them kind of bands. A lot of them were from Manchester.
The Farm was from Liverpool. Inspiral Carpets was from Manchester. The Soup Dragons, I can't remember what it was from, but I saw the Soup Dragons live. They done I'm free to everyone. It was like a hippie group, yeah.
Inspiral Carpets, Oldham, a couple of them guys from Inspiral Carpets lived in Oldham.
There used to be a little live club near me. I saw them guys, all them guys coming up. I saw them all, man. Inspiral Carpets was heavy, man. Heavy. They don't know about heavy. It's Manchester. So, John, where were you the night? The Ariana Grande concert. Where were you specifically, John?
I were in Oldham. Let me think now. I'm nearby where I live now. I was here, and we're at my mates.
What did you do? What happened? How did you hear it? Did you hear it on the news, or what happened?
A phone call, and then we turned the telly on. It was on the news.
Did you head straight down there?
No, I didn't head straight down. That's not the thing to do, really. I mean, it's important, obviously, if you've got people down there to go down, but I didn't go straight down or anything. We just waited for more information. I think the next day, where was I working now? I'm just trying to think.
Did you feel to go straight down? I mean, because something of that magnitude, you wouldn't know if you got people If you lost anyone in there,
No. Well. I didn't know at the time anybody in there, but since then, 2 girls from Oldham died who were very well known to a lot of my friends.
right?
Yeah, and but we didn't find this out till afterwards. But we've got to remember it was a wide range bunch of people. The people from Sheffield, I think North East, Merseyside, Manchester, Liverpool, people from practically all over the country. But then we just waited for more information to come. Then it came out that it was a terror attack, and like people are surprised, but some people are like, well, it's one of the things that spurred a lot of people to come out after was the Ariana Grande explosion. What?
And John, did you went the next day? You went down there?
No, I left it a couple of days before I went down. But all the area was sealed off. You couldn't get within. I don't think you could get within half a mile of the arena. And the train station was shut. Busy, one of the busiest train stations in the northwest was shut. But I mean, the bombing happened. But what we found out afterwards was what upset people. We found out that this guy was on the list. We found out that this guy had been reported by his own community. We found out this guy had been rescued from Libya by the Royal Navy when he was getting radicalized. And then we found out that his parents were refugees, asylum seekers. He came here. They had 5 children. 2 of them blew up money. We found out that his mum and his family was in Libya living while she was still claiming benefits. We found all this out after, and everyone's in uproar. And I don't blame them. I don't blame anybody in the entire world to be in uproar after all that.
Of course.
No,
if you're gonna be, I mean, but John, how are we? We know, me and you, we know that we can't stop this shit happening again. But why is the country asleep to terrorists? Why are they asleep? Why are they sleeping on terrorists? Why are they so quiet? Well, I mean, I don't get it. I don't get it anymore. I really.
Right.
I'm at a loss, brother. How?
I'm not at a loss. I'd say over the past.
I don't get it. I just the man look that thing of that magnitude. I thought, okay, this has happened now. Well, people is not gonna just start to speak about terrorism, start to speak about the threat of jihad only when it happens. They're gonna try and speak about it every opportunity, but people don't.
Right. Yeah. Well, I mean. It's difficult, but what do I believe now? What do I believe now after 3-4 years? What do I believe now? I believe that it's a conspiracy by the elite or whatever. It's to cause divide in the UK between communities, and it's purposely done like that, so it's easier for them to take control. I think in the end, we've seen. What they're doing with the bill, the protest bill, and the powers that the police have got now for protesting, that's increased. And there's been protests for 20 years. And now it's starting to increase because the government are afraid of losing control and there being a French Revolution. Yeah. And so French Revolution, look, remember the French. No. When I say French Revolution, I mean we go in, we take the government, and some heads roll.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought you meant a revolution in France.
No. Yeah. In France, very much so. But I mean, you pointed. You were talking about Macron and what's her name, Le Pen.
Yeah.
Le Pen. Now. She took over a dad's party. Yeah, she took over a dad's party. Now, and looking at the figures, what it shows you on paper, a dad's party was very much more right wing. than
Okay, yeah, I agree.
than she is now.
I agree.
Yeah, yeah. Obviously, she stands up against Islam, and I don't blame her. And it's okay for any woman to stand up against Islam, because Islam is the Middle Eastern countries are well known for their human rights to women. Yeah, yeah. So
I stand up to Islam. I stand up to them for many, the takeover. I see that they're trying. I've seen imminent takeover by them.
conquest.
In the UK.
Conquest is the conquest. God bless in the chat as divide and conquer. Divide and conquer. Divide everyone up, and they're easy to conquer. They're easy to get control of, and stuff like that. Now, Islam is a conquering race, but I don't believe it's Islam's fault that why Britain is in the situation we're in now. It's
no, it's not. But they're a contributing factor.
Yeah. Certainly a contributing factor.
They're a contributing factor because of the money that Britain spent in the war.
Yeah.
Like the illegal war, what you said was clear.
Yeah.
Okay, and all this money that Britain keeps spending on war, right? In the Middle East, it contributes to the factor of our economy today.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it does.
And to the frustration of the youth today, and the frustration of everyone in the Britain today. You see, because Britain was playing with that fucking some kind of warmonger shit, man.
Yeah. But I think it was.
And this is, the legacy of war is always economy, the legacy, and picking up the pieces. Who's gonna fucking pick up this massive tax bill?
Yeah, who owes money? Yeah. So I don't believe that Blair acted on his own. He was a puppet for somebody else or some.
He was a sitting duck.
Yeah.
But that's where I rate Trump. Where Trump said, when he came into blood clot power, he goes, listen, one of my leaving legacy is this. I'm going to cut this fucking money that you're spending out there. All this money you're spending out there on this fucking crazy. You're not saying on this war. He goes, it's billions and billions. These people are mad.
Yeah.
Right? And it's the truth. It's the truth, because if Trump is saying that about America spending so much fucking money, right? Think about Britain. Britain don't have that kind of money America's got.
Yeah. Well, I mean, talking about Trump.
Good money that's meant to build up our houses, build up your roads, build up your country. Good money on illegal war. Tony Blair sent people on.
Yeah, definitely.
Making a whole heap of young British boys die for nothing. In the British boys in the army. Yeah. And these are the guys who we support at the camp. The guys who did tours of Iraq and things like that. And they had a good friend who I've known for 15 years. He died 4 years ago, and he died through things to do with being in war in Iraq. And I've counseled people in war. I've counseled them.
Right.
The army only could do so much, as you know.
Yeah.
The army only offers so much, and then you're left on your fucking ones with a whole heap of mental blood clot problems.
Yeah.
So I know. As I said, you have to pay homage, man, to the people who go out there, and lose their lives for me and you to be breathing, brother.
Yeah.
And some of these boys are young kids. They're young children. Some of these boys and girls who lose their lives in war, in the army, them is young children, When I mean young children, I'm talking about 18, 19 years old,
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Right, because I know I've got virgins whose sons they lost in the war.
Right, yeah.
Young children.
Yeah.
They're babies, man. We're big men now. My grandson, my oldest grandson is 15, and we know, and my virgin lost his son who was 19.
Yeah.
That's only 4 years older than my grandson.
Yeah, remember, I know we're talking about war, and we sent people to war, but right now in the world, the British Army and Navy have some of the most how do you say it? Most some of the best kinds of units in the world, such as search and rescue units. You know, they can do a lot of stuff like that. It's not all just about war, is it? But we have some of these the best in the world, and we sent people out clearing up mines from previous wars who have been injured. We've sent people out to natural disaster sites to help out, and they're seeing dead bodies and people cut up. You know what I mean? So it's a big thing. You know what I mean? But no, it's right. We went to an illegal war for whatever reason. A lot of good lives, mental health, and everybody suffered through that war. It's cost us loads of money, and we haven't got nothing back except for blood on our hands because we went to war in the Middle East.
Really?
Yeah.
I agree.
Can I just get to me chat? And they like you. God bless. He's one of me regulars, and he's enjoying your conversation. Some of the others are, and I know we're not always going to agree on everything, but I think we've got an overall good agreement on a few issues just already, especially to do with the UK, and us being able to do things properly, control our borders and stuff like that. It's a massive issue is immigration now, and
John, it's not something new. We've been talking about immigration for how many years now?
Yeah, many years, over 20 years, about seriously, yeah.
What my thing about this is now. Let me talk now. Let me talk about grooming gangs, right? Grooming gangs. Why is it that it's only people like Tommy Robinson and who's talking about the grooming gangs? Like in certain. Why isn't black people who live in them places up there? Why don't they talk about it? Why are they going crazy about it?
Yeah.
Why are they silent about it? Why is black people so silent about pedophilia for?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't understand. When black people do talk about it, they're talking about one section, as usual. And it's like, when you talk about it, like the grooming gang thing, it's like there's a woman on the internet who Afro, and she's targeting just a black men and without conviction, blah blah blah. But I'm saying to this woman, there's other people who are doing pedophilia in this country, such as the grooming gang. It's not once she touched on it. Why? Because she's a black converted Islam.
Right. Yeah. You messaged me about this. Well,
yeah. Why? She's a black converted Islam. So not one of her victims is a white victim, a white girl victim. All her perpetrators are black men, and all her victims are black women. And I think, come on, if you really care about this pedophilia thing, you would look at who's the real problem in the UK.
Yeah, certainly, yeah. Well, I mean, you mentioned grooming gangs, and let me just tell you what my stance on grooming gangs right now. There wouldn't be any Tommy Robinson, Anne-Marie Waters if the councils would have dealt with this problem years ago, and we know that it goes back more than 30 years.
Like you said, the big fucking Cyril Smith.
Yeah, it goes back beyond that. You know what I mean? So, and they've never dealt with it. So if we don't deal with it at the top, with the people who's supposed to run us, our councils, how can we expect anybody underneath to listen to anything anyone says? You know what I mean? There's no accountability. There's no one ever put to account. And if people would be put to account earlier on, in 40 plus years, God bless his saying, and I'm all right, yeah, I'll agree with that. If people had been held to account then we won't be in such a serious condition now as we are. And political correctness has been a hand in this, is where the white man don't want to say anything because he don't want to upset the person who is saying it against. And I mean, I've heard you say fascist a few times, but right, looking at the explanation of what fascist means, and looking at the people I've met, that they're not fascists. A lot of the people I meet are left leaning, not true right wingers. Most of them are left leaning, but they have issues with Islam. Yeah, and for that I'm labelled a racist, a fascist, and stuff like that.
Well, if you got issues with Islam, you're labelled as Islamophobia, aren't you?
Yeah, Islamophobia.
And if you talk about a Jew, what you labelled a Jew, what's it called?
Anti-Semitic.
Right. And
Well,
if you got issues against gays, you're homophobic.
Yeah. Well, what we in my party, these are politically correct words. Yeah, and they don't mean the same things. I was with Arlene in Rochdale today, and I took her to the place where I talked about this with you, where when I was a young lad and I had a couple of my sisters with me, some skinheads with Nazi tattoos on their arms run through the town and beat up a Pakistani man and run off shouting all sorts of things. So this is when I was like 14 years old. So that's like 40 years ago. Yeah, that's what I seen with my own eyes. But now, just because.
You know, when you saw that, what did that do to you? Anything?
It scared me, but my dad, I think, brought me up in a good right to understand what's going on, and we'd already seen a bit of racial tensions because there has been in Oldham a lot, and as I got older in life and other things happened, it's added, to what I think. But I know there's bad people. I know there's bad people in all shapes and colours. That's not to be said, and there's good people in all shapes and colours. But it's how we deal with it, and how we respond is a kind of person we are. Now, all right, if I was a grown man, I might have responded in violence, but would that have been the right way? Would that have been the right way? No. Maybe the right way might have been talking to the person first and understanding why they're doing the things they've got to do. And there's people who are paid by the government to do all this. This is what someone who's taught to people in social work, because these are the kind of things, Good evening, Philip Watkins. I'm good, sir. But anyway, it scared me. But I've seen other things growing up, and because I live in such a multicultural town, I've seen violence on both sides. It's not, I'm not a mixed race person who lives in a town full of white people. It just wasn't like that. We've got a lot.
How much people live in your town?
270,000 people.
Yeah, what colour, I mean?
I think it's about 15% maybe Muslim, Pakistani, Bangladeshi.
Yeah.
I think it's something like that.
Not 15%.
Yeah, maybe it might be more. But I'm just guessing. I'm just doing a bit of an educated guess. And
But they're mostly whites in your place.
No, well, besides that, you've got a big Eastern European community now, and it's one of the biggest in the UK. More people from Romania came to Oldham than anywhere else in the country.
More people from Romania. So you've got a lot of Romanian friends?
Yeah, I haven't got any Romanian friends, but recently, in the past, since 2014, the EU immigration, we've had that many Romanians in.
And you've got no Romanian friends in Oldham?
Not my age, who speak English anyway. Not.
The Romanians I met in London, they speak pretty good English.
Well, they might have been there for a while, but the ones who've come here, I don't have that good of English, honestly.
Do they integrate?
They're trying to, but no, they're not integrating. So, in 2019, 2020, 36% of the people who came from Romania were under 18 years old.
Okay.
Yeah. And it come to something like 3,000 people or something like that. So, or something like that, 1,500. But if there's 36% under 18, so if there's some 17-year-olds, did they go to school? You know, did they already know English? Did they go to? Well, they come from Romania. Have they learned English in Romania? When they come over here at 17, did they learn English, or did they go to school to learn English? Or, that's the kind of problems we have. So you've got a lot of lads who around Oldham now who speak basic English and just Romanians.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And the young adults already.
And the young adults already.
Yeah, and the crime.
Do you speak to a lot of people, like from outside of like? Have you got any friends?
Well, I haven't got any personal best friends who are Romanian, but I've got some long-time Polish friends, Indian friends, some Pakistanis who I've known all my life.
And are they Muslims or
The Muslims or Hindu, but they all speak English. They all speak. Yeah. Some. Yeah, no, I'm not saying every single Muslim's my friend, but I've got some pretty good friends who I've been friends with for years. Yeah.
That's good though, isn't it? And they come into your house and that.
No one's been in my house recently because I've moved with my mum and because we've had.
You go to their house,
Sometimes, yeah.
So nobody could call you Islamophobic or something.
Not really.
Muslim friends, brethren.
No, but I mean, well. So in the
Hold on, John. So because you speak on grooming gangs, that's the only thing I see. Is that the only thing about Islam you speak on is the grooming gangs, isn't it?
Yeah.
You don't speak about it because, as you said, me and you we don't know nothing about the Quran, so we don't speak about that, do we? Never.
No,
right?
but
we
well.
Speak about their prophet. We don't speak about nothing.
Not really. I try. I've never read the Quran.
Like I do. I look. That's the people's prophet. I respect everyone's prophet. You know what I mean? I respect everyone's verses of Jesus.
Yeah.
Them people have Buddha. Other people have Selassie. You have whatever. Good luck to them. You know what I mean? I don't care about that. Okay? I look on things different than I said to you, innit? Yeah. So I go to the core. You look at grooming gang, John.
Yeah.
And I look on what's the core of it. I told you this before, innit? So I said to you, it's well known. You go on YouTube, and I'm not lying. There's a thing called bestiality, where you haven't sleep with sex with the animals, I think.
Yeah.
And I said, in that culture, they groom animals because it's forbidden to them to have sex with girls before marriage.
Yeah.
And this documentary on YouTube, I'm not lying to you. When I put this part of the documentary from YouTube on my channel, they blocked YouTube to take it down. And I'm thinking, why do they do things like that? When it's all right on other people's channel, it's got 1 million views, like on some news network thing.
Yeah.
It's bad.
Yeah.
Because these men, 3 5 Pakistani men got charged for raping a pregnant sheep. And they got interviewed and they said they groomed the sheep, and they were showing all these grooming the animals, all men grooming animals. So I look and I said, well, this is where this grooming thing manifests from. John, it's in their culture.
Yeah, it is.
John, this is a proper TV news network interviewing these people, like CNN. It's on YouTube.
Yeah.
He only got arrested like last year, but John, the YouTube, the thing is real. The man's telling you about their culture. The man's explaining to you and me about their culture, about why he sleeps with animal. He said, this animal here is faithful to me. That's my wife. Was it a sheep or donkey? What? Sheep or donkey, right? I can't remember. He said, that's my wife. He said, that's more loyal than a woman. A woman is not loyal like that thing was waiting in the field for me to go and have sex with it. Now, hold on. I'm a psychologist. I'm looking and I'm saying, okay, so that's the root of these people. It's the culture. When people looking in England now, and we're all looking at where this grooming thing come from, please look at it, John. Okay?
Yeah.
John, you're talking about the problem, okay? Immigrants, they come from that neck of the woods, and they come in, whether they're legal or whether you're illegal, you come in with a different doctrine.
Yeah. I think.
That doctrine there, where you are doctored, you've been cultured in your culture to sleep with animal from a little boy. Now you're a grown man. You're not going to feel no way of taking a little boy or a little girl and raping that boy or girl. Because you're so used to doing that in your own country.
Yeah. I totally agree. Yeah.
That's, any psychologist will tell you this. It's called learned behavior.
Yeah.
So, listen, man, you're conditioned that way. Whatever me and you say to that man, you can't break that monopoly. You can't break that. That's in the genetic DNA. It's in the genetic DNA.
More than likely, it's ingrained into them. Yeah. I mean.
So that mindset, John, they're taking it from animal into little boys and little girls. Because this culture of people, they don't only, and when I say culture of people, it's a culture. It's not a religion thing now. It's a culture. Because over there, so they have Hindu, Sikh, Muslim, everything. And the whole culture, they're on that thing, of there with the animal there. And the news is telling you, it's not me telling you, it's the news telling me. So you have to work with that. That's what I'm working with, John.
Yeah. I'll agree. I massively agree with the culture thing. A lot of people. God bless the caller. His YouTube channel is Truth and Rights TV, and that's what I'm naming him, Mr. T. And I'll say Mr. T's known me online for about 3 years, much as anyone else.
John, no, hold on a minute, John. You must be mad. If you check it out, we've been locked down for 2 years.
You're right, yeah. So it's about 4 years.
My thing, it must be going back to 2018.
You're right. Early 2018.
Yeah.
You're right.
2022 now, boy. We're locked down. You know what happened, John? We've been locked down for so long, we lose track of the year.
Definitely.
Losing track of the year. But shout out to all your followers, man, because it's a beautiful session we're having here, man. This is how me and Big John, it's a series of shit. Because as I said, John, yes, you have to choose our words carefully, but it boils down to the same thing. We have to look down at the core of the problem. And I'm saying to these people, they're coming over here, whether legal or illegal, with this mindset was totally alienated to our Western mindset. It's alienated to our Western mindset.
Right, yeah.
I've lived in a heavy populated Asian area before, and I'm a big, strong, strapping looking black man. And walking with my son, he's a little boy. This is years ago. And these men, they can't take their eyes off my son. Now, there's something not right there in that culture. Why they are addicted, John, listen to me good. It's people thing. They're not addicted to only girls here. They're addicted to young children, full stop.
Yeah. Well, now you said that, we can bring in Lord Ahmed.
That's it. That's who we're touch on now.
Right. So Lord.
You know what? Before that, even the other one who was prescribed 1 year now, that little fucker, the MP, and he was he presided over the other case, the Rupert Murdoch case. He was a judge, I think. And he got done for the Asian MP. He was another lord, and he got done for going with the red boy.
Yeah. Keith Vaz. Faz. Yeah.
Right. All of them. He got done for fucking the young prostitute boy, red boy.
Yeah.
Right. But yet still he wants to play judge and jury over people like me and you and all the high people. You see, one thing I notice about them people, they try and work their way up, you know. But you see, they get catch. Now let's move on to Lord Ahmed.
Lord Ahmed. The first Muslim lord in the UK. and he was accused of offences in the 1970s. But besides that, he went on to kill someone while driving with a mobile phone. He killed somebody, and he's got recent offences with like 2016, 17 of harassment charges on a woman, and so that's been going on all that long. So there must have been other evidence. Things must have been, and no one said anything. No one's done anything. You know, it's not been put straight. And what it is, the simple fact is, they want to appease that Muslim community. That's what they want to do.
As per usual, to make them look like they fucking always their shit don't stink.
Yeah. But the shit,
Have they removed his title Lord yet?
yeah, they've removed it. They've removed it.
And how about that fucker? What's her name? The mixed race girl who throw acid.
Claudia Webb.
I tell you, I can't stand her, you know.
I can't stand her neither.
John, I can't stand. John, she was in my presence not too long ago. I told you I couldn't stand while she was on bail for this case. John, that woman should be doing prison sentence, you know.
Yeah, because I was that.
She got caught red-handed on tape, threatening to throw acid in a girl's face.
Yeah.
Now, how the hell could you, John? If that was me and you, we got 5 years, you know. We'd have got 5 years for that, you know.
Certainly. But what is that? What kind of thing is that to younger people? What kind of thing is that? Role model. What kind of role model is that to younger people? I'm disgusted, mate. I think everybody's disgusted. And I mean, political correctness, they don't want to upset her because she could just start throwing all that racist stuff out again at them. Yeah.
And hold on. She has had the audacity to throw the race card. And she said this is a race thing. And that's what she said. Didn't you know that?
Yeah, of course, yeah. Now, I'm all for if it's a bona fide or racial issue, and it's you talk about it. But when you're guilty of something, it's not a racial issue, and you try to do things like that. She just puts a real stain on ethnic minority community. She really does.
A lot of people, there's quite a few of them like that who does that.
Yeah.
There's quite a few.
Yeah.
There is quite a few. They use it, and you know, and it's very PC because they don't want to upset the apple cart.
Yeah.
You know, and get rid of her. I mean, you have this woman presiding over a case, and she was questioning people about the integrity. And I thought, hold on, Claudia was meant to be in jail. How the fuck is she conducting a case like this?
Right, yeah.
Inquiries. She's still allowed to conduct inquiries.
Yeah.
It's mad. It's crazy. Now, that is where I look at that, John, right? And I thought, hold on. If that was a white woman or a white man, they wouldn't be allowed to conduct it. They are giving a race card here to this woman. She's getting a pass.
Yeah.
She's getting a pass because of the colour of her skin. See, people use it and abuse it when they want to, you know? They're doing it, John.
Yeah, of course, honestly. You know, and you know, like
David Lammy. I bet you hate him.
I don't like David Lammy either. He's
another one. He's another one now. He was educated in America, he said. If you look at him, he had his education law in America. You know, he actually did some law with Kamala Harris.
Right.
Oh, yes. So David Lammy, I know my friend who's a very top lawyer, black lawyer, I think his father and Lammy's father studied together back in America or something, back in the day.
Yeah.
And he doesn't speak, he's got no good words about Lammy. He says Lammy's fake. Very much like, there's a few of them fake fuckers. I don't want to call them out, but I know who's fake and I know who's not. And he's very fake.
Yeah. There's no honor in him. You know, like.
That's why we were saying about. I mean, it would upset some of your followers, but that's why I was very similar to you, as we said. I can't believe how we agree on that. That George Galloway fella, we both didn't like him. And then we started, you know, he gave you an opportunity. He's the only one that gave you 2 minutes of his time.
Yeah.
Of that position, and you said, you know what? I gotta respect the man.
Yeah, I have to. I absolutely have to. I was giving it them all in Batley. Every single important person that tweeting over a full month. I'm shouting for people to get up there. And only George had time and made some time for me. And I have to give him massive respect. I don't agree with his politics, but I have to give him 100% respect for that.
I just hope, yeah. So all your followers understand that sentiment, because you're talking about Big John Lawrence here, my people, who's come from just humble belongings, who don't have no name, who don't have no big brand, right? And he's been trying to knock on the door. He does interviews with anyone, and he's been knocking on the door. And then somebody of that magnitude, that world name brand, gives this little man, who's from a little corner in Oldham, 2 seconds of his time. If that is not enough to change his opinion of that individual, then there's something wrong with you people. So they hate on John for accepting, for acknowledging, you know what, this brother ain't that bad.
Yeah.
That's all you're saying. He's not that bad.
Yeah. Well, it's the same with Trump. When I look at President Trump, it's not somebody who I'd just be attracted to because of his business. I don't like the guy, but when he came into power, he said he's going to do things, and he did them. He pushed for these things to be done, and you know he got made to be such a villain, and like he wanted to build the wall. And if you look back, there's plenty of people who wanted to build a wall. When Hillary Clinton was a senator, she was demanding they build a wall. But when Donald Trump said it, he was a bad man and all that. But he tried to do these things, and that's I give respect to people who don't lie or cheat. David Cameron, when we had we're coming up to leaving the EU, he owed the EU some money, or we owed the EU some money. And he said publicly, oh, we're not going to pay him that money, and, you know, to get votes and all that lot. Then after it happened, he paid the money dead quietly on the snide. You know what I mean? I don't want a politician like that. I want a politician with some balls. I want a politician who's going to step outside the box and do the right thing, you know? Oh.
Well, it's like Obama. They all said, oh, a great black, we got a black president now. First black president. And it's going to be a great change. So what do you think of Obama?
I don't think there was a great change. If I remember correctly, through Obama, they started drone striking, and more people, there were more casualties built up with drone strikes through all of Obama's reign and killing people in wars than there was in Trump's. There is some different issues, but I think Obama was a puppet. He was a puppet. He was a puppet for someone else.
John, I'm going to tell you something. I'm going to explain something to you. What do you think of Muhammad Ali?
He was a world-class boxer. Although when he changed to when he went following Islam, he didn't have such a high opinion of LGBT people and things like that, and he showed some typical Islamic cultural things against people and stuff like that. Fair enough. But he was the world's greatest boxer at the time. He danced like a butt.
Do you think was he a hero of your dad as well?
Not really, no. I don't. It wasn't any particular hero of my dad. My dad was more of British. He liked Frank Bruno.
And Malcolm X. What do you think of Malcolm X?
I don't know enough about Malcolm X. He was he was fighting for black rights, and he's sort of like you would say he's a Black Lives Matter icon or something like that.
Did you know about
Martin Luther King? But the thing when you say Martin Luther King and Malcolm X, the difference in America to here in racism is unbelievable. I always say this to people. This is a good one to tell you, is that some of the black people who live in America are living in the same areas where their ancestors were slaves. Yeah, some of the white people living in America live in the same areas where the ancestors were slave owners. We don't have that over here, so we don't have that in England, as not like it is in America. So it's next level racism. It's different in America than it is here. That's what I think. You know, when I say that plan out that where people live and stuff like that, that you know, that's a big thing in America. It goes back what 150, 200 years, and in Britain we don't have anything like that. That's why I think, and you think, that Britain is a fairly tolerant community. We've accepted, we've done a lot of people in. We you know, we said this earlier on, but in America it's next level. And the 1950s, the 1960s, the coach woman, what were her name on the coach? Eva something, who sat a place on the coach.
Very interesting you say that, because I look at America and Britain, right, John?
Mm.
It's weird that you say this, yeah, because you look at black people, for example, right, John? How much black billionaires do we have in Britain? And how many black billionaires do we have in America?
Certainly more in America.
All right. So just look for an example. I mean, yes, John, when I was young, it was well known in my family and other black people saying, if you really want to succeed as a black person, go America. After England, go America, because they said in England here, we're not really getting the opportunity. We're getting the opportunity, but we're not able to climb. In America, black people seem able to be able to climb, especially in the music and entertainment industry and everything. So I got a lot of family who came to Grenada, from Grenada to England, stayed over here, and went straight to America. And they became multi-millionaires in America compared to our families over here, compared to the houses and the lifestyle. You know, and that's any job.
Yeah, you're right. I just got into it. You're right there, because some of my dad's family went to New York, and our auntie there, my sister's been over, ended up running she had her own GP, general practitioner's practice.
Yeah, I mean, they really, even though the racism is so crazy over there, you're still able to climb high. You know, that's why people like Oprah Winfrey was able to go so far, and loads of black people are able, they still give you, over here, it's a different kind of racism that we face, John.
Yeah, I agree. It's a nexus.
It's sad, but it's the truth.
Yeah, it's a different level. It's a different level over here than it is over there. I think like you were right about like when they said that, what's that saying now? In America, you can do anything, and you can. What you just said, that you can.
Yeah, and you know another thing, brother, about America and England. If you look at the immigrants now, then they are the ones who, like, you know, when they said this American dream, and like the immigrants are the ones who benefited.
Yeah.
From that.
Of course,
you know
yeah.
You can't tell them nothing. It's like you can't tell an immigrant that America is bad. In America, you can't tell. You understand? You could never tell them, oh, this is a bad country. It's the same as in England. As I said to you, if you speak to the most people who come from different countries in England, if you speak to them, you can't say to them England's bad, because they will tell you, no, England gave me the best opportunity. I told you that.
Yeah. You're right, Space Opera Mark. Trump's the best of a bad bunch. Yeah, definitely.
Trump. Listen, man, I know about. You know, John. I want to tell you something. Right? The reason why I asked you, John, what do you think of Malcolm X and the other Muhammad Ali? Is because they're heroes in a lot of black people's eyes.
Of course, yeah.
Okay. One of my heroes. Well, it's funny how they're both Muslims. How they're both converted to Muslims. Funny that. Okay, but they're heroes. Okay. I've never converted to Islam. I never will. I'm probably going on my slavery history. But this is this one. Well, this is this one, John. My hero is the reason why he's one of my heroes. He epitomizes what I'm about. He's a black man, and the reason why he's not revered in the black industry is because he went with white women, and he was the first black heavyweight champion of the world, and his name was Jack Johnson.
All right, yeah, Jack Johnson, yeah.
And John, if you look at his history, that's why he's my hero. That's why I built my whole thing like him, because he defied every motherfucker and took them all on. And the reason why the black fucking world don't acknowledge him is he went to white women.
Yeah.
The same reason why they never acknowledge me. But you know what? We stick two fingers up. Because that was Mike Tyson's hero.
Yeah.
Well, Mike Tyson didn't want to make that same mistake or fall out of love with the black world. But Mike Tyson's greatest teacher was a white man called Cus-D'Amato. And he warned him that. He said to him that was going to be your problem. That's why the black world would never love Jack. And Tyson had to make a choice.
It's good. It's good. I don't know. Do you watch any of Tyson's chats he does and video chats and interviews or anything?
I want the world to know this is why. Sorry. I just want the world to know this my greatest hero is Jack Johnson. From a little boy, when I knew his story, I identified with this man. And let me tell you something, my people. He proved that he wasn't only great with his hands. And the white world, because he was facing the greatest white supremacy in them days, they waited 8 years before he was able to fight for the world championship, my people. And it was so racist in them days that they blacked out the radio coverage.
Yeah.
And he locked out the white man.
Yeah.
They blackened it out. And that's why he's my hero. He's my hero because he was the first black man to defy everything what it stood for as being a free man. He believed in interracial, interbreeding, and he believed in dying for his belief. I will die to sleep with that white woman right there. In them days, my people, there was lynching the black man and the white woman for that crime. Jack defied it. You dig? And that is why people like me and the people like I'm here, and that's why people like John Lawrence is born today. Because of great black men like that who defied, who was willing to get hanged to sleep with the white women.
Yeah. You're right. My mum and dad went through that kind of thing.
You know, and this is why these series of talks are so pivotal, John. You know.
Yeah.
They gotta know who my hero is, John. And then you bring, I know that touches a nerve, and you say, "Raw, your dad went through." Yeah, of course they had to, because we all had to. But this is my hero, and this is why he's the greatest of all, better than Muhammad Ali, any of them, because of what he had to go through in his time, my people, and what he represented. He represented the whole. Let's all, you know, it's like Rodney King. After Rodney King got killed, beaten up in the LA riots. You remember Rodney King?
Yeah.
Remember what he said? He said afterwards, "Can't we all get along?"
Yeah.
That's his famous slogan. And people say, "Oh, Rodney King's a crackhead and this and that." No, it's just that. Look, man, he takes so much beatings, man. He got paid in compensation, all that millions, and then he says, "Can't we all get along?"
Oh, I'm looking at summer, and Sidney Poitier's died, hasn't he?
Oh, man, I've done my little talk, man. Now, that was, again, beautiful. John, the reason why he's not revered in the black world is because he's sleeping with white women.
Yeah.
And then he's a coconut. They said he's like me and like Jack Johnson. Because you got a white woman, you cannot think no good. You know. So Sidney Poitier is not revered in the black world, which is very sad. Just like Jack Johnson. You know, you see, they're rather Malcolm X and Muhammad Ali because they're converted to Islam. Very weird, isn't it? Very strange, huh?
Yeah, but like you said, they might have wanted direction. We know that stars and people who were in fame and all that suffer from mental health.
What's your opinion of Sidney Poitier?
Sidney Poitier, groundbreaking. The film he did, To Sir With Love, with Lulu, classic.
John, when you used to watch this black man act, how did he inspire you as a little boy, John?
Just getting out there, you know what I mean? Sidney Poitier.
When he came on the screen, John, how old were you when you first saw this black man?
Young. You're very young. I was born in 1967. Yeah. And I think he started about then. So yeah, so maybe when I'm recognised him proper, I might have been 6 or 7 or something like that.
Right. And what did he leave on you? What was his impression?
Well, the impression in like that film, To Sir With Love, was like he was a decent man. He wanted to work. He had a skill. There was no work.
All the kids were so sad that he was departing at the end. I mean, you saw.
Yeah. The party at the end. Yeah.
With Tony Curtis.
Yeah.
Great films. Huh?
Yeah.
Great films this man done. I mean, Sidney Poitier, he deserved that life where he lived nearly 100.
Yeah, definitely. It's a bit.
Sidney Poitier. Who's your favourite actor, by the way?
Old-time actor. Yeah. I would probably say Sidney Poitier as my old-time actor. He's one of my mum's favourites. So To Serve With Love was a film we've watched all our lives.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah,
that's one of your mom's favourites,
yeah.
Wicked.
I don't know. 80s. I like the action. I like the action hero in the 80s.
I thought you was like a De Niro man still.
No, I'm not a gangster man. I'm not. I'm not.
You know who my favourite guys is? I'll tell you because I'm trying to give people insight into the great man, Triple Right. One of my favourite guys is a reason why. Again, I'm into my whole race relations. It's Richard Pryor.
All right, yeah.
The reason why is Richard Pryor and Gene Wilder are the best double acts ever in history.
Yeah, definitely.
And black and white, teaching the world about race relations.
Yeah.
I love these groundbreaking movies, man.
Yeah.
And this is why this guy is another one of my role models after Jack Johnson and my heroes is Richard Pryor.
Yeah.
Because his life is kind of similar to his upbringing. He was brought up in a brothel, very similar to me. And, he saw everything like me. And, and again, very isolated, very, very reclusive life. And hit drugs and went the downward spiral. But still always got back up, dust himself down, and But I mean, that man was so honest. If you look at all his stand-ups, he's so honest about his drug addiction, his drug taking, everything. He just so transparent. He didn't hide.
Yeah.
But he's an example to human kindness. And when you look at Richard Pryor, you really don't see. You see humanity. The man just had pure love for everyone, man. Yeah,
definitely.
That man didn't see. Yes, the way he, it's the way these people, John. Someone like Richard Pryor is the way he confronted racism. He confronted it with humor.
Yeah.
I think we all could learn from that.
Yeah, we can. But I mean, let's not. Someone did point out to me, a friend of mine, but like, we have to remember that there is always bad people in society. There is racists, there are whatever color reason they are. But I believe that like the worst kind of person is a minority. He's not more than the many. And I keep putting up. I know I keep doing it, but
you know something? Beautiful you touch that because the minority is the fucking lone wolf.
yeah, definitely.
That's why they're called lone wolves.
Yeah.
Because if you talk, look at me and you, John. Look how long we've been talking, and everyone knows we're not talking out of context like some deranged person. When a deranged person talks, you can pick up on it very quickly.
Yeah.
On the frequency that they're on. You know, and that's how you know that this is a lone wolf candidate. You know.
Yeah.
Okay. Continue, bro. But they are a minority.
Yeah.
You see, but hold up, are they? John, listen to me. This is why I start going the terrorist thing. Because I want to know, am I a minority or am I in a majority? And let me tell you something. When I go on a terrorist scene, I realize I'm in a minority of black people in the UK. Because I'm thinking, hold up, why are you here? Why are you not here? And I said, hold up. This is why Tommy Robinson and his crew has got so much momentum. Because black people, why are you acting like you don't give a fuck? The black people, the way black people are is the same way the terrorists is exactly how they are to gang crime. As long as it doesn't happen to me, I don't give a fuck. I'm going to work and I'm minding my own business. And black people, they're too much into minding their own business when it suits them. But you're too much in our people's business when it suits you. And the business that you're meant to be in was passa, and it don't mean nothing.
Right, well, what?
You're worried about your neighbours, you're worried about your neighbour's new telly, you're worried about what you're wearing in church next week.
Yeah. Well, let me tell you a bit of something I've learned over the past few years, right, is that some people and some organizations are very good at using things, and a certain organization is called Stand Up to Racism, and it's led by Diane Abbott. And Diane isn't one of my favorites, but what they do, because I speak up against a Muslim man, then to everyone else, they make it an issue that I'm speaking up against everybody who's black or brown or pink. Yeah, that's how they treat us. That's what they make. And all right, I do pick on Pakistani men for rape gangs because the statistics tell us that it is that. That's what the statistics tell us.
Not only that, John, you are right to do that because of the conditioning.
Yeah.
The psychologist, the truth and rights comes in. You are right because of their learned behavior that they get from places like Lahore and Delhi and Islamabad and bring it over to Yassa to the west. And if I was living in Grenada or Trinidad or anywhere, I'll say the same thing. Because you're taking out a learned behavior was outside of our island and bringing it into our island and trying to implement it on our children. So we would ban that out.
Yeah, honestly. Total agreement.
We stamp that shit out. We don't want that. You're banned from entering our islands. And it should be like that anywhere in the world.
Yeah.
You come in with a complete alienated fucking conditioning, man. You come in with you learning how to fuck animals, man. And I don't want that shit in my island.
Yeah.
I don't care if I'm living in Grenada. I don't care if I'm living in Trinidad. I don't care if I'm living in America. I don't care if I'm in Africa. I don't care if I'm in Mars, Pluto. I don't care. I don't want an animal man next to me.
Yeah. Honestly, no. I agree. Culture. I agree. It's a big issue. The immigration thing's certainly a big issue. I mean, what's happening at Dover at the moment?
It's a massive issue because let me tell you something. I'm in the bookie and I'm seeing what country is the man from? I think he might have been very close to Poland, but the man was eating raw burger in the bookie, and the man's eating raw burger, raw meat because it's their culture. For Eastern Europe, they do that. Right? I never see that I'm wrong. I never say that I just videotape it and I put it on YouTube. And I said, look, this is the culture of, this is what this is animal man. John, it's animal man. John, when me and you was little boys growing up, did you see the white Englishman eating raw meat?
No.
All right then. But John, I'm in the blood club Paddy Power, eh? And let me see this Romanian Eastern European man sit down and get 2 fresh minced burger, uncooked raw. Sit down and unwrap that shit. Me and my brethren respecting this man to get some hot cooker and start cook it up. Man start yamming in his mouth. I said, yo, give me my phone. I got the video, take this shit. That shit went viral. That's called Animal Man. Huh?
Yeah. Honestly, did you know that this is it? This is it. But this is something that they don't talk about. They won't tell you about these things. They don't tell you that the Albanians have a high percentage to be cocaine dealers and people traffickers. They don't tell you this. They don't tell you that the Albanians coming over will execute you with point blank to the head over a weed grow of £10,000. They don't tell you all this, you know, and if you say anything against it, so that tells me that in that situation where I'm called a racist, a bigot, and all that, so they must want something else different, and they do. I believe they want socialism and to bring communism in and stuff like that. And you know, I'm not that way inclined. But the thing is, and another thing is, right, I don't believe that we have to use violence to solve everything. I don't believe that. I think the human race has gone on.
Violent, brother. And that's why I'm working with you. Because you don't believe that violence. You know, John, right? And I know that violence can't solve fuck all.
No, it can't. It can't.
John, and protesting, John. I have never gone to protest in my life, and I am not a violent person because I know what's going to solve the problem in protesting and violence.
Yeah.
It's going to be proper delegation.
Yeah. Talk.
You have to delegate with everybody, John.
Yeah.
Everybody who you don't agree with.
Yeah.
I don't agree with transgender agenda, but I have to fucking delegate with them to find out their agenda.
Yeah.
Remember I'll find out who's a man and who's a woman speaking to me, I said.
Yeah, you're right, honestly. Big time on that.
I'll find out John Lawrence. Manure said John Lawrence have a cocky. I speak for everyone else.
Yeah. Listen, so that's the whole point of it. I talk to a lot of.
I want to know, right? I'm very old-fashioned like that. I want to know. You look like a female, but I'm questioning certain things. Am I allowed to ask you? Are you a man or are you a woman? Is that politically correct?
Yeah, not really allowed to ask that.
Thank you. But you see, John, they say they want to be called a thing. I don't want to be called he or she. Just call me thing. But you see, now back in my day, when I was a little boy, if I called you a thing, it'd be seen as an insult.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Now, can you tell me what is actually PC, please? No, tell me that if I called you a thing, oh, that's a thingy bob. Well, I'm not a thingy bob, actually. I'm a he, or I'm a she.
Yeah.
All right, then. But now, I'm not a he, I'm not a she.
I'm a them, or a them, or a they.
So what is that? You just some mad label.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So they've got gender dysphoria, haven't they? And from day to day, they don't know what they feel like. So you can wake up one day and be a them. And pronouns, yeah. You can wake up one morning and be a them. Then the next day you can wake up that morning and be a they. And
what is Britain doing was fundamentally wrong. The Islamic terrorists. I'll tell you what they're doing. I'm going to tell you right now. I'm going to help you all. Our jails are worse than blood clot butlins. You are talking about when I was in prison, my people, we had to shit and piss in a bucket and you had radio on it. The radio never had FM.
Yeah, you never, yeah, and you never had no Xbox.
Them have phone, them have every blood clot thing. Them have everything is 5 sweet hotel.
It is,
right?
it is.
And you're wondering why the terrorists and the gang crime is on the increase. My people, let me tell you something, right? You look at America prison, and you look at England prison, and you look at what the status quo of this country. Yo, you people are mad. You people are sleeping. Are you people crazy? If you look at the state of your prison system in this country, are you people mad? Come on, John.
No, you're right. You're right. It's disgraceful. It's disgraceful.
Your version can get locked up today, and your version be speaking to you for 3 hours like the way me I speak to you now from prison. And he said, John, mate, send me some tuna, mate. Send me my sardines, son. Right? It's fucking lovely in here, son. Look, mate, John, you got your own toilet in prison now. You got your own suite in prison. Are you crazy? No, but John, seriously, if you speak to anyone man of your age, you know about prison, and you talk about now, you don't have to look no further. Why prison is over and full of young boys in prison? It's over full. They got Xbox, they got PlayStation.
Mobile phones.
You got breakfast, lunch, and dinner, John. You got everything there. What do you look at prison for? Tell me.
I know, yeah. Well, I've got a little one to tell you. There was a big heroin smuggling operation stopped coming from Oldham, and it were Pakistanis, and the ringleader had been doing it all inside jail for 18 months, organising this gang, and he was doing it from inside jail. So that's just drugs. So.
You know what, John, but you see, and that's an Oldham brother, yeah?
Yeah, Oldham people it were, yeah.
But you see, where you live, you know where you live, is that on that estate where I saw you, like, running after them Muslim guys? Is that where you live?
No, that's Limeside, that's South Oldham. Yeah, and it's sort of like on the outskirts of the town, of the central area.
But not much Muslims live in Oldham, though. That's what the picture I'm getting.
No. You've got a population, I'm sure. Let me just have I'll just Google up and have a quick check now.
What, is there much Asians live in Oldham or not?
Yeah.
I thought you said only 15%.
Let me just check on that. That was years ago. I think it's a lot more higher than that now. Probably over 20%.
Do you ever get worried, like fighting for, when you, do you ever get worried for your own safety? Do you ever get worried?
No, because I don't threaten anybody. I just call out legitimate stuff. You know what I mean? I'm willing to talk to people and stuff like that, debate with people. I want to talk to the councillors. I want to talk to every member of all the...
Got any threats or anything like that, John?
No.
Oh, wicked. And I'm making sure that I want to know these things because I want to make sure that you're good.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's I've had a bit of online hate, but it's nothing to be thinking. But what I pride myself on.
Me personally, from interacting with you for last week, I know that you don't warrant none of that. That's why I put that out there. One of my first videos I made on you, and I said, like, since I've been speaking to you, I said one thing about this brother, he is non-violent, so he doesn't deserve none of that.
Yeah. Honestly, I don't want violence. I've stopped violence. I've physically stopped violence. I've stood in between people, so it doesn't get too rowdy.
Exactly why I'm endorsing your candidacy for you to be a leader, because I believe it's someone like you who's non-violent, confrontational, who doesn't encourage people. I believe you are a peacemaker. That's what I've seen of you.
Right. Yeah.
You want to be a peacemaker.
Yeah. Right.
You want to make that difference. You don't want violence.
No. You know, if I think about the human race, Mr. T, if I think about the human race, haven't we gone far enough now in solving?
Enough casualties.
Yeah, and solving.
Not only that, your father never stood for that.
No, he never stood for violence. Not one bit, my dad.
And you want to follow in your father's footsteps.
Certainly, during the Oldham and Bradford riots, my dad was a spokesman between the community and the council and the police. You know, and he didn't want violence. He never shouted for that.
Would your father want to meet Tommy Robinson?
If he were alive now, he probably he would. If Tommy was one of my mates, he'd have him round for a brew at the house.
Tommy Robinson? Have you met Tommy?
Yeah, a couple of times.
And what is he like?
Just a normal lad, just a normal British working class lad.
Nothing. When you say working class, have you had a job since I heard of him?
No, but that.
John, hold on. Since I've heard of the name Tommy Robinson, hold on. I've not heard that Tommy's driving the buses now. Tommy's a really cab driver. I've not heard him actually had a job, right?
Journalist.
Who's paying him?
He's a journalist. He's a registered journalist.
Well, who's paying him? If you're a journalist, you've got to pay someone's got to pay your wages. Who's paying him?
Yeah. Oh, that I don't know. Probably somebody outside the country. This is something I want to get down to, is that, like, if I'm going to change Britain and the United Kingdom, I'm going to do it with me. I'm going to do it with you. I'm going to do it with God bless who's in the chat, because I know he lives in England. I'm going to do it with, hold on, let me just check my chat. I'm going to do it with WK White Knight, because he's in England. I'm going to do it with Danny West, because he's in England. I don't want to do it.
Your point is Tommy's trying to do it with people outside of England.
No, I'm not saying that. He might get some kind of funding from outside of England. I don't know for sure if he does, but you know, he's well funded. He does get donations, but you know, he might be getting lots of organisations and people get money from outside things, don't they? You know, and stuff like that.
Well, he gets funded from Israel.
If he's funded from Israel, that's outside, isn't it? Why do I need Israel to fund me to help me sort my country out?
Exactly.
Yeah, I don't need Israel. I'm not picking on them or anything. I don't need Saudi Arabia.
Tommy Robinson is getting funded from Israel, right?
If he gets funding from Israel, then that's bad. To me, it is personally. You know, I want us to sort our life out and our country. I don't want to have foreign import. And I know a few people who are high up in this cause who feel like that. Yeah.
It does leave a lot to be desired.
Yeah, and I believe my picture I've got up on my screen. I don't know if you've got it on, but it's a big screen and 2/3 of it, and it says, "We didn't vote because it won't make a difference." But one third voted. So I'm just telling you how much power we've got to change things that we can do. And that's what our current situation is. I can give you breakdown details of how many people live in a ward, how many people voted in that ward, how many people a different Christian, a Muslim, whatever. Oh, and you were saying about the population in the 2011 census, it was 37.6% Asian.
37.
Yeah, 37.6% Asian. And that was in 2011.
So tell me something then. Would you marry an Asian girl?
Yeah, of course I would. Why wouldn't I? I would. But if she's Muslim,
I just threw that one out. Like, would you marry a Muslim?
Well. The thing is, I'd marry.
If you married a Muslim, right? For example.
Yeah.
And you wouldn't marry a Muslim who she's trying to convert you to Islam, would you?
No, I wouldn't want to marry a Muslim like that.
Marry a Muslim who you could convert to English selfish ideologies, right?
No. If she wants to, I respect anybody who I've met. I respect anybody.
So would you marry a Muslim woman who's still going to mosque and she still wants to she wants to still practice Islam?
If it need come be to it, and I met that woman, and it was true love, am I wrong? I'm not wrong, am I? I'm not. No, I'm not wrong. But if it ever come to a situation like it might not do, but I don't think it would. But if it ever did, you know what I mean? I'd have to just go with how I felt. I don't think I'd be.
John, no, you know what? That you see when I threw that one at you, and the minute you've gone with your feelings and your emotions, that shows that you're real and that nobody can talk nothing negative or derogatory about you from now on, because you just answer that straight away and says, no, you know what, I would go with my feelings and my emotions. So that's just saying, boy, if that person is showing me love and affection, I'm riding with it. That's me.
Yeah, listen, I'm not that. Yeah. I'm not that much of a name. Listen, I'm not perfect. Let's just say that I'm not definitely not perfect. Yeah, but I wouldn't be thinking that. But I would.
Don't try and tell me about no Allah, no, nothing like that.
No, I wouldn't say that. What I would respect what I should do as a person and the person who I am now. What I should do, I should go and study the Quran a bit. I should go and talk more with the man at the mosque.
But if you've got no intention of converting or marrying a Muslim girl, what do you want to study it for?
I don't mean just mean that. I mean, in the current situation and where we are in the UK now, we should understand anything that we disagree with. We should talk. We should look into it. We should read up on it.
Not me. No, because I don't. The reason why I don't look into Islam is because I look at my brethren. Take me in
more onto the family. Yeah. You look down. You look around you. Yeah.
No. The first thing I thought of when he told me to take my shoes off. My shoes is expensive. I didn't want to take my shoes off. I don't want to teeth my shoe. That's the first thing, right? So you have to look at that. I didn't want to take my shoe off. There was an argument, John.
Yeah.
So I don't want to take my shoe off, John, because I don't trust them boy with my shoe. Hold on. We have a £700 shoe. I'm not taking my shoe off.
Yeah.
Right? So we've got a problem right away. See? Because we wear expensive shoe. Because I have a bad foot.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So straight away, there's a problem.
Yeah.
So he got me past that barrier. All right. We're going on this big hall, and he said, yeah, everything's all right, yeah. I said, yeah. He said, now this is a virgin. Hold on. He was from Sheffield. He was a mixed race guy, and his name was John. And he married an Algerian woman, right? Algerian woman, and he converted to Islam, and he called himself Mustafa. And he said to me, and he was from Sheffield, and this was 30 years ago, and he said to me, come in the mosque. I said, all right, man. The man bombarded me until I gave in. He tried to convert me. I said, all right, fuck it, let me go. Let me show you how powerful I am. Whatever you do, you cannot convert me. So we're going to the mosque. So all these barriers are faced with my shoe. So the next minute, he said, when it was time to pray, brethren, the man, when I start bending down in front of man's bottom, man start poop in front of my face, brought wind. Poop. Old Asian man farting in my face. Like I'm some sort of like crazy slave. And I got to take all this poop in my face. I said, no, sir, these people are showing me big disrespect as a black man. As a black man who first come in our mosque. And this is a very high populated Asian area. They're all Pakistani and Indian Muslims. They're no like Somalians or nobody, you know. And then Rocky win in my face, you know.
Right. One sec. I'm going to end the stream soon, but I just want to bring in one of the chat, and he's called God Bless. Yeah, it's one of my loyalist followers. So look, just bringing him in. God bless. I don't know. Yeah.
I want everyone to think my glasses.
He doesn't know we're on yet. Hold on, one sec.
Right.
Yeah, honestly, time's on. I haven't spent no time with mum for 3 hours. So. Yeah.
No, I only took out of storage.
Right.
This one we're gonna keep this one on anyway, this stream, because we want people to learn from each other. It's the first of our series, you know.
Yeah, it's up, and honestly, I've well enjoyed it.
No, it's the first of our series. I said I want series, and we're gonna keep these. These are gonna be historical talks because people are gonna learn from it. That's the only way we're gonna move forward, you know.
Yeah.
Derogatory. YouTube should keep it up, and I want it to be educational learning curves for people.
Yeah. I'm good for it. It's been good. 2 hours 35 minutes you've had me for.
I said to you, John, you know what I mean? You can speak for the whole night.
And I only know what time it is because Arlene just reminded me.
Arlene.
Yeah.
I got a big song for Arlene, you know.
Go on.
What, you want me to play the song?
Go on.
Hold on, I'll find it. Wait, Arlene, okay. I got a big song for Arlene. Let me find it first. But I got a big song, man. I got a big song for Arlene quickly then. I'm gonna find that big song for Arlene, man. Because Arlene. So Arlene is there tonight, yeah?
Yeah, she's visiting, yeah. Yeah, she's staying, yeah.
I thought Arlene lives with you more time, you know?
No, she's got her own life.
Arlene's got her own life, yeah?
My own house.
Yeah, I know Arlene's got her own life. Arlene is a great woman, man. Arlene is one of the greatest. Arlene, I've got a song for you, man. Arlene, this is a beautiful song I've got for you, man. Arlene, you see, the black world loves your name. Your name is very famous in the black world. This is your song, Arlene. Arlene, I want to dream with a G. Arlene, I want to dream with a G. Because the way we wanna feel like my people just go because of Arlene. Arlene, I want to dream with a G. Arlene, I want to dream with a G. It's just a time to get a G. It's just a time to get a G. Take on what you got the G. Take on what you got the G. Arlene, I want to dream with a G. I want to dream with a G. Every time she hit me, she walk my street. When I put her on and she started hitting sweet. Arlene, I want to dream with a G. Arlene, I want to dream with a G. Said you young Arlene, she loves me a G. Every time that she comes, she's up with Arlene. Every take her out, she wants to stop me. Love is you like you're on the off with the D. One it could be, two it could be, three it could be, and I'm on the place. Arlene, I want to dream with a G. Arlene, I want to dream with a G. And I really out to pick up hooks on the piece. They think I'm top, she already loves it. Arlene, I want to dream with a G. Arlene, I want to dream with a G. Should you give me a D? Should you give me a D? We say, but it's Bashi. We say, but it's Bashi. Because my guys are listening, they don't marry my fantasy, but they're listening. I roll my own bar, the people love me too. And down the chat, don't be time for reaching out for a while. Arlene, I want to dream with a G. Arlene, I want to dream with a G. It's just a time to get a D. It's just a time to get a D. What do you think of that one, John Lawrence?
Well, honestly, Arlene's impressed. Arlene's well, and she wants to know who done the track and all that.
Can you please say
Oh,
the
let me
name?
tell you something, Arlene. You see, your name is a famous name.
I love it.
If you type out Arlene, pure Jamaican man, you pure tune out know your name.
I got 'em.
And when I first heard your name, Arlene, I said, Arlene was a dream. You don't know your thing, your thing straight from JA, and you don't even know it, my brother. Even your missus' name is made in Jamaica.
Mm.
And you don't even know it because no Englishman ever done a song called with Arlene. But yet still, if you type out Arlene on YouTube, you find big Jamaican man do that tune about their girl.
Right.
Arlene is a famous Jamaican name, not an English name.
Wow.
Arlene never know her history. And I'm here to teach you all your history, that's all. And then she said, Arlene, you say that Arlene, you're heavy. I bet you never know.
Right. Listen, brother. I'm going. Thank you for the chat, and I look forward to the next one. But there's going to be some tough questions in the next one. I've got some stuff written down that we're going to talk about, and I think it's going to get a bit more heated than we did today.
John, I don't think it could get it. Well, you mean, I'm here to, I'm here for anything, man. Because
Right.
we, of course it's going to get, look, if you wanted to get like that, I'll accommodate you, man.
No. I don't want it to get like that, but it might do if some of the things that we talk about. Yeah.
Nah, I don't think so. After that tune that I played for Arlene, I don't think we I think Arlene said, blood, I never hear a tune like that. I think we were sedated it, you know what I mean? Also, Arlene.
Come and visit the Highlands, Trish.
You get more nice.
Let's see. Let's see if I can get.
I never get a dog plate with yet requested to me. We have that much. Arlene might beat you up tonight, you know. Yeah. You want Arlene to give you a lick? You want Arlene to lick you down tonight, John?
No. Do it.
Hey, Arlene, I've got pure love songs for you because I am the lover man. I just serenade women. That's what I do. Why if it Mrs. Sugar? I get pure. I have millions of songs with Mrs. Sugar, right? We have millions. Every woman's name has got a meaning. And I have, if you name whatever your name is, may have a song for you. But you never know. Your name could be anything. May have a song for you.
Right. Listen. I'm going. Thank you very much, man. It's been a really good couple of hours.
It's been a pleasure, my brother. This one is going to be legendary. This is the first historical one right there.
It's-
John Lawrence, you know.
it's-
All the fine. His wife Arlene, all the time. Blessing at the place on Trevor Rice TV. It's been a blessing, my brother. Pleasure. I will speak later on, all right, my brother?
Yeah. All right. Thank you,
Good night,
man.
love.
Thank
God
you.
bless.
Here's the directions for life and blessings and protection for the Lawrence family and Arlene.
Oh,
Each and every
bless.
time.
Right.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, man. Thank you to everyone in the chat. Truth and Rights TV. I put his link up. I put Yeah. hashtag vote for Big John.
That's what we're about. We're about pushing your vote, John Lawrence, so you could get there, all right? That's all.
Right, yeah, listen. His YouTube channel link is in the description for this video. It should be. If not, I'll put it out. Got some really interesting videos about cases and stuff that's gone on around London and stuff like that. So look into it. But yeah, Truth and Rights TV, plenty of videos. So I'll put his link up. But thank you again, brother. Thank you.
I do the same as well, brother. I do likewise as well, brother. You know that each and every time.
Yeah.
Bless up, John.
All right. Bless up, man.
All right, my brother. Bless up.
All right. Thank you, man. Thank you. See you later.
Fans as well, all right? Look, peace and blessings, directions to all your fans as well, all right, my brother?
Yeah, to yours as well, man. To yours as well.
All right, no, John.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, man. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.